65 miles outside of Detroit, you'll see racing on Father's Day as Michigan International Speedway celebrates its 35th anniversary. 150,000 fans will be an eyewitness to America's best drivers going 400 miles at nearly 200 miles per hour. The stars performing on stage include Jeff Gordon. He's won at this track twice before. Dale Earnhardt Jr. starts from the second row today. As for Tony Stewart, he'll share the front row with teammate and pole sitter Bobby Labonte. The Irish Hills of southeast Michigan are the setting, but as they say on 8 Mile Road and in Motown, it's showtime. Fox Sports welcomes you to NASCAR Winston Cup and our free race show, coming to you from the state that is the birthplace of the automotive industry. This track, wide open and fast, 2 miles, D-shaped. It'll produce the ultimate reality show with a little speed, drama, and plenty of excitement. And our corporate assembly line, the Hollywood Hotel, located in the infield, as our studio goes to where the races are to bring you closer to the action. Hi, I'm Chris Myers, and for all of us here on Fox, thanks for being with us, and happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Today's race is an event like most in NASCAR that truly embodies the bond between a father and his son. There's no Winston Cup race on Mother's Day, but today we will watch the sons of former drivers Richard Petty, Ned Jarrett, the late Dale Earnhardt, and Clifton Cuckoo Marlin. And tomorrow marks the exactly 100 years since the Ford Motor Company was created. Today we'll see Fords and Chevys and Pontiacs and Dodges all trying to make their way to victory lane. Joined by my partners who have been there before, and Darrell Waltrip and Jeff Hammond. By the way, we're all fathers, so happy Father's Day to you guys.
Yeah, same to you.
And appreciate that. And let's talk about the weather. We have beautiful, warm, sunny weather here in Michigan. How will it affect today's race?
Well, all these racetracks are very heat sensitive. I mean, when you go out there and the sun's been shining and it draws all those oils and stuff up out of the racetrack, it gets slick. And the guy that can make the adjustment, that's got that notebook that says, here's what you do on a day like this, that's the guys you got to watch. I go with the guys with the experience.
With that being said, Chris, one other thing you need to factor in, we haven't had any rain here, so think about it like this here. They ran an ARCA race here. There's Hoosier rubber on this racetrack. Hey, and remember, we run Goodyears in Winston Cup, so there's not much compatibility there, so guys have to adjust to that for a little while till that rubber gets worn away. Then they'll be able to attack the racetrack basically with whatever changes they can do to keep up with the track.
So Hoosier rubber in Michigan, that wouldn't be a good thing.
No, I don't work too good.
That's a good movie, Hoosier. You can explain that a little bit. We're going to get your picks, too, in a moment here for team owner Joe Gibbs. This the first time both of his drivers start on the front row, and the way that Tony Stewart and Bobby Labonte looked on Friday, they could finish 1-2 today. For Labonte, Friday the 13th, no nightmare. He added to his impressive Michigan resume. Labonte's won here 3 times. He grabbed his 3rd pole of this year, and that had his crew chief, Michael Fatback McSwain, jumping for joy as much as he could jump. The Labonte-McSwain combo has bulked up, morphed into a mean green, not so lean fighting machine.
Sometimes these guys cut me off on the racetrack, and that makes me angry. And you don't want to see me when I get angry. You don't want to see it.
Yeah, usually technology, we didn't need it. Fatback just jumped on the car.
I'm telling you right now.
What hops he has. And actually, the paint scheme on the 18 car for the movie The Hulk, which is out playing, seriously.
Right.
Let's check in with Matt Yoakum, who's trackside. Matt?
Chris, Team Green certainly having a stellar weekend so far. Nearly broke the track record. Bobby Labonte joining his teammate on the front row. First off, how jacked up are you about today? Because your car looked very fast in happy hour.
It was really good. It gave up a little bit more in the long run than we'd like to see, but still, all in all, the Interstate Battery Chevrolet was really good. We got the Hulk on it this weekend. We qualified on the pole, so far it's been a great weekend. So we look forward to continue that today. And a beautiful day, beautiful Father's Day today, so a lot better weather than we've had in a long time. So looking forward to it.
Now, back in 2000, you nearly completed all the laps run that year. Do you feel like this team is back on track as far as that kind of consistency to win the championship? You're only 111 points out of second.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of that going on our side, obviously. In 2000, it was different. Nobody's been able to run that, or finish that many laps without a problem. Nowadays, the competition's so tough. I mean, it's just hard to do. Things happen to you, it seems like, a couple more races and everything. But I feel like our race team's really strong, and I hope that we can be able to be consistent like we were in 2000 as far as from here on out, and just be good enough to finish races and run the top 5, top 10, and be competitive.
The Gibbs guys share the front row. Last week it was his teammate Tony Stewart who went to victory lane. Back-to-back top 5s for Stewart. It certainly looks like the 2002 champ is also back on track.
Well, Tony Stewart, the last time we spoke, it was in victory lane at Pocono. Enough with all that bad luck, right?
I hope so. So far this weekend's been great. Chevrolet Monte Carlo has been awesome. All the guys on the Home Depot crew have done a great job. Both of our cars, Bobby and myself, being on the front row, it's something that we've never done at Joe Gibbs Racing. So, pretty excited about the start of the weekend so far.
Tony, you guys fought through so much adversity, but even with those poor finishes, you guys led 235 laps in that span.
Yeah, we're not running bad, and we haven't been running bad. It's just a matter of not getting the finishes that we've wanted. So, we've been doing everything right as a team. It's just, I caused a mistake at Dover by parking on the line. We had a motor failure at California. Just little things have happened that have kept us out of victory lane. But, we're all doing a great job. Everybody's been doing their parts, and, it's just not been going our way till last week, and we finally had everything come together for the day.
Well, Tony, we go back to Chris Myers. Would you like to have the honor of wishing him a happy Father's Day?
Yeah, because he's kind of like a second father to me, Chris Myers is. But I do want to say happy Father's Day to my dad Nelson and my grandfather Eddie Jarvis, and all the fathers out there who do a great job and support everything we all do. So my great grandfather Eddie, that is. So anyway, but just appreciate everything. I wish our father could be here. He's busy back in Indianapolis babysitting my sprint car team, so I know he's probably taking a well-deserved day off today, and I'll send your paycheck Monday, bud.
All right, now we go to Chris.
All right. Thanks, Steve and Tony. And Tony has talked before how his father and family made sacrifices when he was younger so that he could have the career in racing. So happy Father's Day to his dad. 3 weeks ago, the defending champ 20th. Look how he's jumped after they finished in Dover. He talked about that, then the win in Pocono. As for NASCAR's top 10 after 14 races, Matt Kenseth, the biggest points lead in 10 years at this point. And at this time last year, Sterling Marlin was the points leader, currently running 10th. And Kenseth, he won this race last year. He's the mild-mannered Midwesterner. Doesn't get a lot of pub, but he's quietly kind of running away with this thing.
Here's the thing. Everybody talks about how many laps they led. Yeah. You know how many laps he's finished? All but one. 99.9% of the laps run so far, he's finished all but one.
And consistency when Bobby Labonte won the points championship. Jeff, what is this race? What can that do to a guy who is, one who needs to finish to stay in the points race?
Well, you got to have a good finish here, obviously, today. And I talked to Robbie Reiser a little earlier. They're not quite happy with their race car. They're making some last-minute changes. So this could be maybe the first bump in the road for the 17 crew. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond to it.
I like last-minute changes, man. Right, coming on Sunday morning and throw a new setup under.
And we're counting down to those changes as we wait the start of today's Winston Cup Series race presented by Old Spice. We're going to look at driver safety. Last week, Jeff Green involved in a bad wreck, a broken tailbone. We'll talk about this when we come back here on Fox. Don't go away. Nice to have you with us on Fox as we await the start of the Sirius 400. Coming to you once again from Michigan International Speedway. Dale Jarrett, one of the fathers on hand. There's your points champ, Matt Kenseth. Brett Bodine, who in the 11 car yesterday had a cut tire, hit the wall, was actually unconscious. It's amazing when you see this crash that he was able to come out of this really okay. His brother Todd helps him out. His other brother Jeffrey will take over his ride. And he is here today, but obviously he will not be racing. So we're glad that Brett Bodine is okay. No other sport has that double-edged legacy of great drivers and unbearable tragedy. And for over 100 years, the safety of the man behind the wheel has been a work in progress. Darrell Waltrip is standing by at our Ford Cutaway car, not the sleek modern marvel that Jeff Hammond uses, but one of the wonders of the ancient world.
Folks, look at this thing. This is a 1901 Ford Sweepstakes car. This, you know what they were thinking about? They wasn't thinking about staying in it. They were just thinking about how fast it would go. No safety innovations whatsoever. Baby, we've come a long way.
In 1972, when Darrell Waltrip started his career, safety and footwear, they didn't all go together. Can you believe this right here was a choice right then? Cowboy boots, sometimes tennis shoes, penny loafers, whatever was comfortable for a driver. This was his uniform at that time. Look how thin it is compared to today's style. Now, take a look at his helmet. Not much protection there, folks, but it was state-of-the-art in 1972. Window nets, not much more than fishnet compared to today's. Let's look inside at the seat he used to ride in. Look at the shoulder harnesses. Look how narrow they are. Not much support in here for the driver at all as far as the side or the seat itself. A lot of give right there. Take a look at this headrest. Boy, does it move a lot.
Well, folks, there's no question about it. We have learned a lot. That was then. Let me show you what's now.
Darrell, today we got better roll cages than ever before. We got roof flaps on these cars, specially designed seats. I mean, how much better can it get?
Well, look where we've come so far. Look at these seat belts, how much wider they are. Look at the headrest. Hold the driver's head in a side impact. Look at the leg braces that keep your legs from flying all over the place. So many advancements, so many improvements from things that we have learned on the racetrack.
Exactly right, and we haven't even begun to touch really the tip of the iceberg. We got a long ways to go, but we've come a long way.
And that kind of progress has allowed all of the drivers involved in wrecks like this one, Dale Earnhardt Jr. at California, and then the Cope at Richmond, Sterling Marlin in Kansas, to get back and drive again. Even last week, it was Jeff Green in Pocono, had his shoes knocked off, but he's okay. All he's suffering just minor injuries, and Jeff, one of the drivers, racing today. And we're going to look at how the seats, I guess the driver compartment, and Darrell, I'll start with you, the choices that you have and how safe it actually is.
Well, everything has subtly changed. You see how long this is? We learned that when the driver hit, he went forward. When we had a little short headrest, he ended up on the outside of the headrest, break his neck. Legs flying all over the place. We learned to restrain the legs. What else did we learn, Jeff? We learned that the rib support.
Rib support's right there. You notice in this seat right here, it's less than the one right there. But as we come on down the line, you'll notice, hey, we've got carbon fiber technology just like they use in Formula One or kart. This seat right here is made out of carbon fiber. If you'll notice also, the seat belts are now bolted to the seat instead of the roll cage. Again, an advancement in technology and design.
One of the things that you see, there's no rib support here, but we got shoulder support. And what we learned was that the shoulders can hold 4 times as much as the ribs can. So now we've got rib and shoulder protection. We got leg braces. We got carbon fiber. Driver's got his fire bottle. He's got his brake adjuster. He got his radio box. This is his little cocoon.
He's almost like a used car salesman.
Oh, I'm telling you, he's good at it. And let's don't forget one other thing, Chris.
Yes.
We've got the head and neck restraints that have also been added to this, I guess you might say, technological advancement, right? It makes a big difference in how these drivers
and
work.
that, NASCAR, I mean, for 2 years, I mean, the last 2 years, they made it mandatory. When something happens, Darrell, they talk to people about it. They make the necessary steps to advance the technology. All of these seats are available to drivers, and also the helmets. There's been a lot of progress in that area.
Carbon fiber helmets. They're safer, they're lighter, less weight on the driver's head.
Right.
Hans device, that's on your shoulders, keeps that head from snapping forward. The uniform, triple layer Nomex, fireproof, fire resistant, I should say.
All right.
And then this is the other device.
That's the Hutchins device right there as far as the head and neck restraints.
The full face helmet's still optional. Some drivers decide not to necessarily go that way, but the progress between the driver and his crew and the technology working together is something Jeff Burton is very familiar with, and he's standing by with our Dick Berggren.
Well, Jeff Burton has been the most articulate and influential of the driver's spokespersons for safety. We've seen a lot of improvements, Jeff. What's next?
Oh, we have seen a whole lot of improvements, a lot of effort by a lot of people, and that's made a big difference. I think the continued evolution of the driver's cockpit area is really important. And then a lot of little things, maybe there's not one great big thing for us right now, but a lot of little things like fuel pumps that shut off when you hit, at a certain amount of force, moving the driver further to the right, building bigger cars, other thing. But I think the thing that's out there for us in the near future is better wall technology. We saw yesterday through a very crude way that tire system worked, pretty well in that event. So if we can put some more technology to that and, continue to evolve the wall programs that we're working on, I think that's really big for us.
So much safer now than even a couple of years ago, but still some room to grow, Chris.
Thanks, Dick. And Jeff, so how about it, Daryl, the wall technology? Your thoughts on that?
Oh, we've seen some great examples. I mean, the wall technology that we saw, if you want to call that technology, pretty crude, like Jeff Burton said, on the inside of the wall yesterday. There's no question in my mind that saved Brett Bodine from having serious injury.
And how about
now, watch right here.
This is last August at the Brickyard.
This is in Indianapolis. This is soft wall technology, safer barriers, as they like to call them. That kid would have been hurt in that accident had those walls not been there. My question would be to Mike Hilton or whomever, and you can see.
He says he was after Jimmy Spencer there.
Telling him to go to the back's what he was telling him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's driver interpretation.
Yeah, but my question to Mike would be, Mike, we keep saying we got to test. There are racetracks that are so similar to Indianapolis. Why do we not have these walls installed yet?
Well, thanks, Daryl. I'm with Mike Hilton, NASCAR president, and you have heard the conversation as it's gone on. Give us an update on NASCAR's moving into soft wall technology.
Yeah, and I would tell you, Daryl, that it may look like there's a lot of tracks that are similar to Indianapolis, but when it comes to developing this type of very specific technology for a wall to work and work correctly and not be a more dangerous situation, there's really not. Every racetrack that NASCAR Winston Cup Series and the Busch Series run on is very unique. And we're very close. I think that within a matter of if not weeks, certainly 2 or 3 months from now, Dr. Sickings and the folks at Nebraska are going to be very close to telling NASCAR that we can press forward and go a little deeper. Now, that doesn't mean that there'll be time to get them where we'd like to get them this year, but by next spring, you'll see more and more of the safer barriers in play here in the NASCAR racetracks that the national tours run on. We're very close, but one of the dilemmas we've had, and one of the things that's taken so long, it took over 2 years to get the wall put into Indianapolis. And since then, the effort has been to expand that, and at the same time, take a hard look at what the wall has done at Indianapolis and how the things that it might have not been successful on, how do you fix those? So it's slow, but it's slow because in today's world, with all the technology you have and the ability to experiment at a off-site location as opposed to experiment with something that could be more dangerous on-site, it just takes time. But we're very close to it. In the meantime, we've worked with racetracks, places like Michigan here. If you remember last year in Pocono, there was 2 rails, no earth behind there. Dr. Mattioli and his guys over the winter put the 3rd rail up, put the dirt back there. That's a type of a soft wall technology. So there's progress being made every day, and it'll never stop being made. But hopefully we'll see the walls pretty soon.
While the safer barriers under development, are there areas now at these tracks away from the racing groove, either on the outside or inside wall, where more of these types of barriers that exist now could be used?
There are, and certainly I think they have been developed in a crude manner, not necessarily the safer barrier, but the tire walls here in Michigan, Watkins Glen, the AMCO barrier in the earth in Pocono, the different areas, the water barrels with sand, the bundles of foam at Indianapolis on the end of pit wall. All of those are types of safer barriers. In the meantime, those areas can be protected that way until we get the safer barrier tweaked to its final phase. Last fall, Talladega put them on the flat walls on the inside as part of the test and development, because that was an area that we put them in to see how they would react on a flat surface like that. So all that's been progressing as we've got to where we are today, but it's as close as it's ever been.
All right, let's go to Jeff Hammond downstairs.
Well, I know I had the opportunity to go to the R&D center that NASCAR has got operational right now, and I had the privilege of seeing a couple of these cars that have been tested. And I just wanted to say that I know where Mike's coming from, because some of these cars that have gone to these barriers that they've been testing have actually destroyed the race cars almost beyond all belief. And I know that when they get it right, it'll be a lot better than what I've seen. And it's been impressive, Mike, so far, all the work that Joe and as far as Gary Nelson's been doing at your new R&D center. I've been very impressed with that. I know how close you're getting based off of what they've been telling me.
And we have, and we'll get quicker in the process, and that's one of the reasons that NASCAR has invested tens of millions of dollars in the R&D center, so that process can be faster and get ahead of the game instead of wait and react.
So, Darrell, I guess the best answer to your question is it's a work in progress.
Yeah, I'm sure. I agree. I know that's the case. I know it's not being ignored, but I do believe that there's a serious need to go to all these racetracks and look at all conditions at the racetrack. Soft walls, walls that need to be moved, pits that need to be made bigger. We need to get down to a point to where we really are working hard on fixing these racetracks and making them safer.
All right, thanks, Mike and Mike. And R&D is the research and development. Referring real quick, a full-face helmet, Darrell, you think should be made mandatory?
Oh, there's no question about it. You don't want to be riding around out there in an open-face helmet. You know, that you can't leave things like that up to the driver because he'd be riding in a T-shirt if you let him.
All right, Brett Bodine's brother Jeffrey Bodine, the former Daytona 500 winner, will take his place today. Brother Todd Bodine's crew won the McDonald's drive-through pit championship fueled by Powerade. Their car spent the least total amount of time on pit road. In last week's race, they'll receive the $20,000 weekly prize. Overall, Michael Waltrip leads with a big prize at the end of that. Special Father's Day combo, and we come back on Fox.
Hi, I'm Chase Elliott, and I would like to wish a happy Father's Day to everybody, and especially on my dad's team.
And Bill Elliott, a seven-time winner here at Michigan, most among active drivers. And Darrell Waltrip, our own Darrell, DW, receiving a Father's Day gift earlier this week here in Detroit as he was inducted into the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America. 84 Winston Cup wins. You know, he's a three-time points champion. One of 8 inductees, former driver, NBC analyst Benny Parsons, master of ceremonies there. They held it at the State Theater in Detroit, and previous inductees include Junior Johnson, Ned Jarrett, Bobby Unser, and Chris Economaki, just to mention a few. And we all congratulate you, DW, and it must have been nice to be among such an honored crowd.
It really was. One of my heroes was there as well. Dan Gurney, Bobby Unser was there, and of course all the manufacturers. And look at old Pegasus there. That's a great trophy. And that thing, what it weigh about 50 pounds.
To you, maybe it does.
And look, I brought my buddy on stage with me. Me and him were up there together, just really gloating in the limelight.
It really is a team. And you were talking about this track. The drivers love Michigan, but a crew chief is really on the spot because they don't necessarily like it running.
No,
here.
it's a very challenging racetrack. When it gets hot like it is today, the racetrack gets real slick. But believe me, it's a high-speed chess game that a lot of us enjoy playing because you got the fuel mileage deal, keeping up with the racetrack. But hey, it's kind of like playing capture the flag too. You get to lead your men into battle, and then believe me, it's a fun deal to get into if you got a good race car.
One of these drivers will celebrate a happy Father's Day.
It's only 400 miles.
Dale Jarrett has won 4 times in Michigan. Today he receives the 2003 Fatherhood Award from the National Fatherhood Initiative. Dale, of course, the son of a champion driver Ned Jarrett and the father of 4. With a demanding 36-race schedule, race teams spend way too much time away from home, and that means sometimes family ties can be stretched and strained. But Jimmy Johnson in the 48 Lowe's Chevrolet has found a way to keep it all in the family. His mother, a bus driver, his father, a truck driver. So on this Father's Day, it's easy to see why he feels at home driving around a racetrack.
Just the comfort of knowing that there's somebody there that genuinely is looking out for you, cares for you, and wants the best for you.
And I think that's like the Newmans and the Mears too, and McMurray, same thing. You know, we just want the best for our kids, so nobody's going to watch out for them as best as we can, I think. So we try.
Race weekends at the track, he's trying to give me my space so I can have my life, my personal life, but also be there to support me. And I can just see on his face, you know, the pride and how happy he is to be here. And he's probably the biggest race fan on the planet. So him being at the racetrack and me being a part of it, I can just see him smiling ear to ear and floating by it. Happy Father's Day. I hope you like the gift. I know you're going to use it and need it. All of our race fans helped pick this up. Cool.
Usually I just get a card.
Yeah, this is
I get a present. This is cool. Thanks, everybody. All right, an air compressor. Well, I can use that.
Happy Father's Day to everyone out there. Very thankful, Dad, for everything that you've done.
Watch a race with your dad. You know, enjoy the races, because we certainly do.
Is that the kind of present Jimmy's dad really wanted?
The air compressor. I don't know about that.
He hit a home run with that.
I think my wife
had
had toaster one time. She didn't like it.
Maybe like a hammock or something like that, so you kick back and relax a little bit.
You know, all sports and businesses, I mean, there are generations handed down through father and son, but why is it in NASCAR that it seems that the names are very familiar and it seems more so?
You learn at home. You're homeschooled. And what I mean by that is, if your father, everybody has a love affair with a car. Your dad's an old shade tree mechanic, and you hang around with him, and you go to the racetracks together. It's a family sport because you learn how to do it at home. You don't go to school. You don't get a degree in racing.
That's
you get a
exactly
degree
right.
in racing at home.
That's what my dad taught me, and that's the reason why I fell in love with the sports at an early age, and I could never get it out of my system.
Yeah, and we all have to drive, and you know, we all love to drive fast. And if you want to give your father maybe a special racing gift, enter the Be a Grand Marshal contest. It's, you know, tune in the first hour of our coverage today. Look for that secret number on the animated car and the guy with the Monopoly flags there. Then log on to NASCAR.com or FoxSports.com. Enter this number for your chance to win. The winner will start the race, ride in the pace car, even wave the checkered flag at Rockingham in 2004. It's your last chance to enter be a NASCAR Grand Marshal for a Day contest later today on Fox. And for all of our guys here working behind the scenes, fathers on Father's Day, we wish him the best. And to my dad, a happy Father's Day. He's a good guy. He had to put up with me for a lot of years. We'll be right back in Michigan. Welcome back at Michigan International Speedway. Big Father's Day crowd here as we get ready to go racing. This is the 15th of 36 Winston Cup races, and as we get closer to what would be the halfway mark of the season, a change has been announced already for next season. The traditional Labor Day race, the Southern 500 held in Darlington, South Carolina, will move next year to California Speedway. Among the reasons given for the Los Angeles area track and for them having a second date, the opportunity to increase attendance and revenues in what is the country's second largest market. Darlington will keep its spring race, take over the fall date at North Carolina Speedway in Rockingham. There might be further changes announced for next year's schedule as well. And another change possibly, no official word yet, but Nextel, one of the nation's top telecommunications companies, has emerged as the favorite to become the title sponsor for NASCAR, replacing the R.J. Reynolds Winston name. Visa has also had discussions with NASCAR. And from racing's Olive Garden department of When You're Here, Your Family, Kyle, the son of Richard Petty, replaced John, the nephew of Mario Andretti, with Christian Fittipaldi, the nephew of Emerson Fittipaldi. Christian starts today near the back of the pack. That all makes sense, but in a way, Andretti, you got it. You got to get all those names attached.
Fittipaldi, okay. Just remember Fittipaldi.
That really good. Yes.
Our schedule has needed rework for years. It needs to have a lot of work done on it. Let's don't just play with it. Let's fix it.
So there should be other changes.
Let's get in there and let's look at it and let's make some good decisions, make some changes, and let's fix it once and for all.
All right. What about Andretti? Did he get a raw deal? Will he get a ride real soon? We're hearing rumors about maybe taking over for Nadeau or something.
I believe right now John Andretti will definitely find himself another place to drive because he's too talented. He's got a lot of experience, and there's a lot of teams right now that can utilize that experience and help their race teams. As far as getting a raw deal, anytime you see a team release a driver at this point, you've always got to wonder about it. But when you're floundering like they were, you got to think sometimes change is necessary.
All right, the 43 car, not the only one to make a switch. Larry McReynolds was in Indianapolis this week to take in racing's version of Trading Spaces.
Well, guys, I've been a part and witnessed a lot of neat things in Winston Cup racing in my years, but probably one of the neatest things that I've witnessed was on Wednesday when Jeff Gordon and Juan Montoya from the Formula One circuit, they actually swapped rides. Jeff got in that Formula One car, and it was such a rush to see that car going down that front stretch turning 17,000 RPMs. Now, Jeff made 2 runs in the car, and trust me, by the end of those 2 runs, about 9 or 10 laps, he was right there quick enough to be pretty competitive at a Formula One race in Indy. I think both guys had fun, but I think Jeff Gordon definitely had more fun than Juan Montoya.
The two are going to be so drastically different. From me getting into his car and him getting into my car, it's just totally different sides of the world as far as, you know, the technology and the grip and the acceleration. But he's excited, and he looks like he's ready to have some fun, and I can't wait to get behind the wheel of his car.
Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
It was a lot of fun. I gotta say, I enjoy myself so much. He's got a lot of power, and he drives really well. I thought it was gonna be, you know, a lot slower in the corners, but it's not. You know, you really can push it around, and it moves around so much. That's really exciting. I love that.
It's unbelievable, and the more and more comfortable I got, just the better it felt. It was such an awesome experience, and You know, I'm just blown away right now. I'm really speechless. I have no idea that it would be that amazing.
And with Jeff Gordon as he takes his lap around the racetrack. And Jeff, Robbie Loomis said he has never seen you that excited as you were after getting in that F1 car.
It was a cool moment, something I always wanted to do. Never thought I'd ever get the chance to do it. And it was by far everything that and more than I ever expected it to be.
How about today? 15 top 10s and 2 wins at this racetrack.
Yeah, it's a great track for us. The car feels, incredible, and we're just going to go out there and try to get it balanced and see if we can, keep it up front and hopefully get to the very front and win us another race here at Michigan. It'd be great.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. twice this year, Fontana and Talladega, has had to go to the back due to an engine change, finished 1st and 6th. And Junior, you got to go to the back again here, but you've won here before in a Busch car. So how pumped up are you about maybe getting another win here?
It's going to be tough coming from the back. Not these days. I mean, everybody's dialed in. Everybody's really fast. We're just going to have to be careful not to get put down a lap. This place is really well known for having a lot of long green flag runs and stuff. We'll just have to be patient and try to.
Fun place to run, though?
Fun place? Yeah, it's fun. I mean, a lot of room, a lot of grip. When your car's handling good, a lot of grip. 3 wide, whatever in the corners. I mean, it's a great racetrack, Just it's going to be a tough day for us if we get something good out of it.
Well, he has a Busch Series win here. He'd love to add a Winston Cup win to his racing resume, and also a win would certainly gain some points on Matt Kenseth, the point leader. Dick?
Not just the point leader, but Matt Kenseth has a commanding lead on the points. He is the defending champion of this race. Won it last year from 20th. Today you start 21st. Got a car good enough to win it again.
Yesterday we didn't. Hopefully today will bring us something different. But the DeWalt guy's been working really hard, and hopefully we can hit the right setup. But we need to get to the front here at Michigan. This is an awesome racetrack. It's always a great race to be a part of, and hopefully we can get up there and get a good finish. And real quick, I want to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers, especially mine, who's actually here to race today. His first one of the year, so that's pretty cool.
All right, good luck to you. Thanks. Let's go back to Chris.
All right, thanks very much. Appreciate that, Dick. And before our 3 wise men give us their picks for today's race and the overall standings, let's take a look. Larry Mack in first. Jeff Hammond currently in second. And DW said, don't mention where I am for now. No, so there you see the standings.
Please don't.
All right, but I always like, it's not just where you stand or who you pick. Let's take a look at who our experts pick. It's why they choose the drivers. Remember, you can't pick the same guy again, so some of the bigger names have been taken. So, Larry, well, go ahead, DW.
I picked from the heart.
Yes, you take a Labonte. You wanted either one of them, right?
From the heart.
All right. Let's go up to Larry.
Soft heart, hard head.
Larry, why'd you go with your
guys,
choice?
I'm points racing. 2 races to go. You saw the points lead I've got, and I picked a guy that knows how to finish races. DW, I know he's starting back in 37th, but you and I watched that Tide ride yesterday. He was right up against the wall. Second quickest in practice. He's going to be good on those long runs. He's going to get his second win of 2003.
Well, a guy still looking for a victory is Mark Martin, but after coming off that second-place victory last weekend, I really think that he's got the momentum going. He likes this race car, and every now and then, Jack has a way of kind of stretching the fuel mileage here at a place like Michigan. I kind of like his chances.
Yeah, I told these guys I was going to take Labonte, and they said, you've already taken him.
That's exactly right.
We checked the records, a part of the pre-race festivities here, and a beautiful day, as we mentioned at the top of the pre-race show at Michigan International Speedway, 150,000 people ready to go. You know, Ford has their 100-year anniversary. And in fact, some of the Ford people came up, said hi to the Ford family, but Chevys and Joe Gibbs guys are up on the front. What does it say about maybe with Tony Stewart getting on a roll? Labonte's been consistent about maybe they might be ready to make a real run here.
Well, you got to watch out. These guys have finally figured this body location out and got the balance back. They're going to be tough. Maybe time for NASCAR to take another look at these aero deals. Go to the wind tunnel.
We hadn't heard that all. It's been a good thing that we haven't heard that talked about.
I'm pretty happy with the way things are. You watch when the day's over with, we'll have Ford, Chevrolet, Pontiac, and Dodge all up there in the top 5 or 6. So I don't think that's the deal. They just Chevrolet guys got a good lap in.
All right, Jeff Hammond's pick, Mark Martin, a part of Roush Racing.
Yeah, and I was talking about Terry Labonte.
Let's check in with Dick Berggren, who's with Mark. Dick?
Well, I'll tell you what, if Jeff Hammond picks you to win the race, why not? 4 Winston Cup wins here, 2 Busch Series wins, an IROC win. How about today?
Well, I hope so. Our Viagra Taurus was really good last week, so we brought it up here. We've lacked just a little bit being spectacular, and hopefully Ben and the guys have put that under it for today. And we'll see. Our car tends to come on, strong the longer we run, so we're going to see, what the race brings us after halfway.
Maybe not spectacular, but smooth and steady. That's Mark Martin.
All right, thanks very much. You know, we saw Jeff Gordon as we got to look at Bobby Labonte's paint scheme and the
Fatback. Fatback's in the car. Oh, no.
He's holding his.
They've already got the man.
Jeff Gordon's a guy who could probably do the Coke 600 and Indy 500 and win.
Yeah, you know, Frank Williams, the BMW Formula One team owner there, said a couple of years ago that there was maybe one guy in Winston Cup that could cut it in Formula One. That had the intelligence and the ability, and that was Jeff Gordon.
Yeah.
And I agree. I'd like to see Jeff try it. I love him here. I don't want to lose him, but I'd like to see him try it.
Yeah, he's hinted at enjoying that. Jeff, real quick, last week we didn't see the kind of engine failure we thought, the wear and tear in the Pocono 500, but you think today we might see some people really get strained?
You got a lot of hanging RPMs. A lot of these guys are turning a lot of RPMs as far as this racetrack's concerned. You got to realize this is a super speedway, and turning 9,400 RPM can get you in trouble.
And Darrell, as we discuss safety and some of the improvements, NASCAR is on the case. They constantly are, but you'd like to see them move it up a little bit.
Got a lot of work to do. They got to look at the schedule, which needs a lot of work. They got to look at the soft wall technology. They got to look at lights around speedways. They got to look at purses. Got a lot of work to do, folks.
All right, GW, more preaching up in the booth when he joins Larry Mack and Mike. Jeff and I will be here at the Hollywood Hotel throughout the 400 miles. Thanks for watching the pre-race show. Glad to have you with us again. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Stick around for live racing from Michigan here on Fox.
NASCAR on Fox welcomes you to the Irish Hills of Michigan, where today 150,000 fans are crammed into Michigan Speedway to watch the NASCAR Winston Cup Series on Fox, presented by Old Spice, the official deodorant of NASCAR. Old Spice, spice things up. It's a packed house on this Father's Day, and happy Dad's Day to everyone out there. Since 6 a.m. this morning, the traffic's been lined up down Route 127 and across Route 12 as they've come from the Motor City and all over the Midwest to watch their Winston Cup heroes racing Detroit Iron around this 2-mile super speedway that Roger Penske built. Let's go trackside for today's opening ceremonies.
Tomorrow all the things were gone. I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky star to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away.
That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land, God bless the USA.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea,
from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American's heart, and it's time we stand and say
that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land, God bless the USA. That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land, God bless the USA. God bless the USA.
And now to give our invocation, please welcome Pastor Raymond Bruce from the First Baptist Church of Brooklyn, Michigan.
Shall we bow together for prayer? Our Father and our God, we come to you today on behalf of this special NASCAR event. We are gathered here as those who love NASCAR racing. We are grateful for this beautiful facility that has been planned for our enjoyment. We're thankful for these drivers and their special talents. I pray that you will be with them and their families. We pray also for the car owners, for the teams, the sponsors, the fans, the media, and we desire this afternoon to see a good race. Father, we thank you so much for this great country of ours, our strong leader, President George W. Bush, our second-to-none military and their families, and the freedom that we enjoy. Dear God, bless America. In Jesus' name, amen.
And now our national anthem. Please welcome recording artist Edwin McCain.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free? And the home of the brave.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, with the most famous words in motorsports, our Grand Marshal, a board member of the Ford Motor Company, Edsel Ford.
Happy birthday, Ford Motor Company. Gentlemen, start your engines.
And the engines have fired here at Michigan.
Steens from the Michigan Air Guard. They'll make 2 passes and go vertical. That formation What a great opening ceremony. Hello, everybody. Happy Father's Day. Welcome to Michigan International Speedway. Mike Joy with Larry McReynolds and then one of the newest inductees of the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America, Darrell Waltrip. June is the most interesting month in stock car racing, says Tony Stewart, and I'd have to agree. The concrete of Dover, the Roval of Pocono, this super speedway, and then the road course out at Sonoma, California. So Larry Mack, got to be on your toes here.
Yes, you do. I've already said the month of June separates the men from the boys with the race team. Even though it's not the longest stretch, these guys have a 20-race stretch to the end of the season starting the 1st of July. It's 4 different racetracks, as you said, and it's from border to border and coast to coast. And DW, when I think about the points battle, Matt Kenseth and Dale Earnhardt Jr. has always run well here. But we've already heard documented, Kenseth's not happy with his car. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has to go to the rear of the field. And when you look at Bobby Labonte and Jeff Gordon, 3rd and 4th in the points, 5 wins between those guys, this may be the place where we could get that point swing.
Well, it may be, but if you're Kenseth, you just keep doing what you've been doing. Consistent finishes. Average start 25th. Average finish 10th here. He'll take a 10th place finish, I guarantee you. But if you're behind, if you're trying to catch up, you got one option and one option only. I got to win the race. And I got to hope that he breaks or something happens to him. Otherwise, he's way out there. He's going to be hard to catch for most of the year.
We're set to go racing for 400 miles, 200 laps at Michigan International Speedway. Not far from the Woodward Dream Cruise, and of course not far from 8 Mile. Welcome back to NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on Fox. Presented by Old Spice, official deodorant of NASCAR. Spice things up. It is a perfect Father's Day here in Michigan. 77 degrees. Track temp, which hit 130 yesterday at 118. Winds from the east at 9. It's going to be beautiful. Partly cloudy all day and set to go racing. Budweiser, official beer of NASCAR and proud sponsor of the Bud Pole Award, given to the fastest qualifier at each Winston Cup race. Today's Bud Pole Award goes to Bobby Labonte. Here are the Bud Pole winners of 2003. Since 1979, Anheuser-Busch has doled out more than $8 million as title sponsor of the Pole Award program. And here's our Old Spice starting grid for today. Bobby Labonte, 3 wins, 3 poles here, his 3rd pole of the season. First time the Gibbs teammates have started together on the front row. Dale Jr., track record holder and point runner-up, Kurt Busch. Terry Labonte, never won here yet. Jeff Gordon has 2 victories here. Elliott Sadler there with Ryan Newman, 2 wins so far this year. Michael Waltrip, Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson, Joe Nemechek, the Richmond winner. Jeff Green, another good start for Jack Sprague back there at row number 7. And look at rows 8 and 9. There's 16 wins in that row, in those rows. 4 for Mark Martin, 7 for Elliott, and 5 for Rusty. Hermie Sadler, good effort. Robbie Gordon, Mayfield, quick and happy hour. Matt Kenseth, last year's winner. And Casey Mears, who won the ARCA race yesterday, his first stock car win. Jeffrey Bodine replacing his brother Brett, who is here today at the racetrack. Rookie Greg Biffle, Marlin, the 2001 winner. Christian Fittipaldi, who has replaced John Andretti. And here is Provisional Land and the DNQs, which will be Mike Skinner and Larry Foyt. They were not the slowest in qualifying, but neither had a provisional start available to them. Brett Bodine got some bad news this week when Hooters Restaurants decided that they would no longer fund this team after today. They are off the car, citing disappointing performance. They had cut back their sponsorship this year, so Brett cut back his schedule. That wasn't enough. He's got some things he's working on, and the best news is after that hard crash in yesterday's practice, in which session he was 14th fastest, he's here, and he's with Dick Berggren. I just lost. How are you feeling?
Well, we're banged up, Dick, but you know what? I'm the luckiest guy in the world to be here today. It was a pretty severe wreck, and you know, I'm very fortunate the car was prepared well, and you know, the soft wall on the inside of the racetrack did its job, and you know, everything in the car did its job, and you know, I'm able to come back to the racetrack today.
What happens now to you and your team?
Well, we're working hard to get that sponsorship sewed up. We've got one on the table, and hopefully we can get it done in the next week or so, and you know, get this race team back in a competitive situation. we've suffered through this being underfunded for so long, and I just want a chance at trying to do this race team with the right funding. And we've got some great people, and we're going to be back. Gosh darn it, this is what I do. I race, and we're going to keep trying to race.
One brave race driver, Mike Joy.
He sure is, Dick. He is NASCAR's last single car team owner driver, and we wish him nothing but success. It's a tough road, but that's the road he has chosen.
I know how he feels. I've been an owner driver. It's not an easy task.
Guys, we have 5 cars going to the rear of the field. Most significant would be out of the first 3 rows would be Terry Labonte and Dale Earnhardt Jr. They had camshaft problems. Jimmy Spencer had a problem with his engine qualifying. Of course, not only does the 11 car have a backup car, it'll be a different driver. And Christian Fittipaldi, he's the one that had the problem in the happy hour practice. A clutch or flywheel exploded. That's the pieces that we're pretty sure Brett Bodine ran over that cut that right front tire down, the reason he hit the wall.
There's Fittipaldi, who qualified on time. He'll line up 36th today. Last chance to be a Grand Marshal for a day. I guess that's the secret number on our Fox spinning car right there. Log on to foxsports.com and NASCAR.com, and you can enter. And when we go to Rockingham next spring, you'll start the race riding the pace car, produce features with Chris Long, wave the checkered flag, wash DW's motor coach, carry Larry's luggage, and handle my flight reservations.
Perfect.
You're going to be busy if you're the winner. Steve Burns.
Mike, this race car that Tony Stewart is driving has never been to victory lane. He's driven it 3 times, and it's led 3 times for a total of 235 laps. He says this car is very good. Matt Yoakum.
In 25 years of racing, Steve Burns, Terry Labonte has never won a race here at Michigan. 3 times he's finished second. They feel like they've got their best shot today. Solid all week, and he qualified 5th, but had to go to the back doing an engine change. They feel like that was their lucky break because they feel like they would have finished dead last because the motor would not have lasted past the halfway point.
We go to the road course at Sonoma next week. Last super speedway race on Fox for 2003. Let's get it going.
DW, my last chance. 200 miles an hour into turn 1. Last oval. Reach up there and pull them belts tight one more time.
Baby, I'm up on the wheel. I'm getting ready. Boogity, 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 boys. Gas them up.
Michael Waltrip in the Napa 15 car making a run to the inside right there. One thing about this racetrack, we saw it yesterday in practice. You run at the bottom, you run in the middle of the racetrack, or as I'm sure a lot of guys will be doing, including Michael Waltrip, right up against that wall, especially in 3 and 4.
Jeff Gordon on the outside has a run for 3rd place.
There you see right now, leader Tony Stewart in the 20 car. He was in the middle of the racetrack through 3 and 4. Kurt Busch in the 97 car, all the way at the bottom. But Tony Stewart, he'll
back in there.
Lap.
But Larry, look back in there. They're 3, 4 wide back in there already. Everybody dicing for position. Draft is huge here. You get a great suck when you're getting up behind somebody that really will pick you up.
One car around, takes one with it.
Here we go.
Schrader again, and Ricky Rudd. I say again, 1 week ago we weren't 10 laps into the race, and Ken Schrader had crashed in turn 1.
I was just going to say, you really hold your breath right now in these early laps because the track's dirty, it's slick, your car a little loose. You can get turned around in a hurry.
2 cars now stopped between turns 1 and 2. Ricky Rudd against the wall in the Wood Brothers Ford, and Ken Schrader climbing out.
And Jimmy Spencer in the 7 car, he had all 4 wheels locked up to keep from getting into this wreck.
Schrader doesn't look all that happy the way he's snatching things off there.
No, there was contact well before the spin, Darrell. Let's see.
He's in the middle right there. Oh, he's in trouble. He's up in the middle. He gets forced up into Ricky.
By Steve Park.
By Steve Park. But 3 wide going in the first turn on the 2nd lap, I don't recommend that.
Here's another look. From Ricky Rudd's car.
Rudd was definitely just a victim on that deal.
And let's watch from Mike Wallace. Remember 1 week ago, Pocono, Kenny lost his brakes. and piled hard into the wall.
And that was on lap 7. This is on lap 2. So he's run 9 laps in the last 2 races.
Steve Park, Ken Schrader, Ricky Rudd to get together, and caution is out early on Michigan. NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on Fox is presented by Old Spice. Spice things up. And brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest lasting trucks on the road. By Burger King, we'd love to put a flame grilled original Whopper on for you. And by Singular, the wireless company that fits you best. Welcome back to the Sirius 400 at Michigan International Speedway. Under caution at lap number 2, Ricky Rudd and Ken Schrader are okay after a hard crash at turn 1 on only the 2nd lap. And Schrader explaining to Ricky Rudd what happened.
Now, I'm pretty sure Schrader's going to say the 30 car had something to do with this.
Well, let's see if, folks, if we can explain it to you and keep an eye right there on the gap between Steve Park and Kenny Schrader.
They're going down the first turn. Remember, they're going 200 mile an hour right here. 30 car looks like he doesn't really hit Kenny, but he forces Kenny up, and there's not enough room there between he and Ricky Rudd, and they make contact. Now, like I said, I don't recommend 3 wide racing down in the first turn this early in the race. So I'm waiting for one. What do you think? What do you think, Larry? I mean, did the 30 cause that? Did the 49 cause that? I know Ricky Rudd didn't cause it.
I'm like you, Darrell. 3 wide racing that hard this early in the race, it don't do anybody any good. And obviously, Ricky Rudd is the real victim in this.
But Darrell, if you walk around this track, it's wide enough to race 4 wide if everybody's minding their P's and Q's. And that can't always happen at these speeds.
Right. 3 wide's okay if you're in 3 different lanes, but you can't get in the other guy's lane.
Agree.
And we've got several guys coming to pit road here at lap 5, and most of these are cars that were at the rear of the field. You saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. there. Remember, he had to go to the rear of the field because of an engine change. And what these guys are doing is they're topping off with fuel. At Michigan, we know this thing will get strung out, have long green runs. Anytime you can take an opportunity to put fuel in that car, top it off. You see Jeffrey Bodine and his brother's Brett car, the 11 car. Anytime you can put fuel in that car, it just buys you more laps on the racetrack. Fuel window here, about 45 to 50 laps. If you can get it to where you can make it on 3 stops, you're ahead of the game.
Yeah, and of course with Jeffrey, he just come in to probably say, hey, help me with my seatbelts and adjust this and adjust that, because this is the first time he's been in the car.
Well, and I noticed he was having a tough time finding the pits. He had no idea what the pit sign even looked like.
He was laying on the beach yesterday.
Now, Darrell, looking back again at the incident, Schrader and Park were already 2 wide. Ricky Rudd had a run on the outside and looked like he had plenty of room up there.
Yeah, I think so. It's just close racing, but guys just need to be a little bit more careful this early in the show.
There you see our Fox tracks. We're getting ready for the restart here. Pace car brings them down to 65 miles per hour. This will be a single file restart. Everybody's still on the lead lap. Accelerate now, green flags out. Over 100 miles an hour by the time they get to the start-finish line.
Jeff Green had a run, kind of ran out of steam there at 10th place down on the bottom and lost a spot to Robbie Gordon. At the front, Kurt Busch coming for the lead.
Now right there, Kurt would like to slide up in front of Tony, but Tony's not going to have any part of that. That's going to pull Tony and Jeff Gordon right back by Busch, I'd say. Well, I know he's fighting back pretty hard there on the inside.
I tell you, another guy that's pulling in the picture is Ryan Newman in that 12 car. He started back in 8th, and he's right up there in this mix as well.
Kurt Busch has climbed to 5th in the point standings. That's why he's running Stewart so hard. It's important to lead a lap if you can. That's 5 bonus points.
Yeah, well, Ryan Newman finished 3rd here last year, so, you know, he runs well here. There's no question about that, and that Penske horsepower will get the job done.
Where's Kenseth? There's our points leader, battling his Roush teammate Mark Martin for 13th place. And another Roush car, Jeff Burton right behind.
Whew. It didn't take them long to get back to 3 or 4 wide. We got another battle for second place right here. You see Ryan Newman in the 12 car going to the bottom of the racetrack.
That's the thing about when you're back in the pack right there. It's just so, you got the draft. You get down in the corner really good, and here comes a guy drafting up on you, and he drives under you and forces you up. This is an aggravating place to race.
Battle for 9th, battle for 15th, battle for 2nd, battle for 5th.
It's battles everywhere.
We need bigger screens.
Aggravating from a driver's perspective until you get strung out, because cars can just run all over the top of each other and down low and up high and keep showing you toes.
But here, Darrell, you can't let that leader get too far away, and that's what Tony Stewart is trying to do, stretch the field. It's strung out over a quarter of a lap, half a mile distance here at Michigan already.
Well, one of the reasons you race so hard right now, just like we saw in that first incident, is when you got them bunched up. That's the best time to get them.
See our 2 box here, the battle for second place, and we're riding with Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's up to the 36th position. Remember, he came in and topped off on that last caution as he goes by Christian Fittipaldi in the 43 car. Looks like he's going to split Christian Fittipaldi and Derek Cope. A little bit of wiggle to go with it.
Wiggle in his walk, but he's going to squeeze through there. Make the pass. Trouble, turn 4, 1 car around in the wall.
In front of you, gotta get down, and up get the ball.
Blaney.
And boy, wow, I don't know how in the world all those cars got by him, because he was coming down the racetrack. Those cars didn't know whether to go high or whether to go low.
Dave Blaney.
Caution is out.
Jasper Ford brings out the second caution of the day.
And Mike, I think what we're seeing is a product of it being a lot hotter today than it was even yesterday in happy hour, because these guys were on the track yesterday morning. They haven't seen this racetrack with the sun out bright and hot like it is right now, and this joint will get loose.
I talked to Greg Zippindelli, Tony Stewart's crew chief, this morning. At 8 o'clock this morning, he said it's already warmer than it was in happy hour yesterday.
Ricky Rudd's car dragged back to the garage after getting involved in the first accident at lap 2. Schrader brings him across the line under caution. Not sure what started this, but Blaney going into turn 3.
I mean, look at this right here. Christian Fittipaldi just getting by on the bottom in the 43 car. Jimmy Spencer in the 7 has another close call.
"12 laps, 2 cautions at Michigan International Speedway. This is Winston Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Old Spice. Welcome back to Michigan. Under caution, all but 7 cars come to pit road. The ones that stayed out: Tony Stewart, Michael Waltrip, Sterling Marlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Raines, Hermie Sadler, and Jeffrey Bodine.
I almost think that, and almost like Tony missed his call.
And that would not be the first time.
I know that's happened once before, and it's almost like it happened then, because, man, he should have come to pit road.
Dick Berggren is at the Care Center.
Ken Schrader, 2 DNFs in 2 weeks. What happened today?
We ran out of room. I was beside the 30, and Ricky shot the gap to the outside, and you know, everything's real tight down there, and I guess I think the 30 got into me just a little bit, and I got up into Ricky, and we just all run out of room. I mean, it took 3 of us to do it, but we did it.
We saw you talking to Ricky on the racetrack. What'd you have to say?
Well, first off, I wanted to make sure he was okay. Main thing, because he, didn't just jump right out. But you don't know what happens in those things. You got an idea what happens. When it's just a couple of you, you almost know for sure. But when there's another one, someone else involved, you don't always know. So the main thing is he's okay. That's all.
As we near the restart, what happened to you?
Well, I think Kenny pretty well said it. I guess we ran out of room out there. I was all the way up square with Kenny, so I knew that he saw me and wasn't going to be a problem going down in turn 1. I got plenty of room. And evidently, Kenny must have got hit from the inside, because next thing I know, I'm going backwards in the fence. And it's just a shame this motorcraft Air Force Ford. It really tested really good yesterday in practice. And the only good thing that came out of it, Schrader grabbed a hold of my Hans device, and I found out there's a whole lot lighter Hans than I've got. So a bad day. That's the only thing that was learned good. I guess a good thing is nobody got hurt.
Ricky was second 2 years ago. Mike?
Tough break for Schrader and Rudd. We're going to get the restart here to begin lap 15. And from Steve Burns, we'll get the answer to why Tony Stewart did not pit.
Well, Mike, listening to crew chief Greg Zippindelli and Tony Stewart, when the caution flag came out, they never contemplated pitting. Zipadelli telling Stewart, let's just stick to our game plan, conserve your gas, we'll be all right. He said 10-4. Matt?
Michael Waltrip stayed out. Slugger Labby, why'd you keep your guy on the track?
Well, we only had like 5 green laps on our tires, and we get good fuel mileage. We can still go to 52 and make it a 3-lap race, so there really wasn't no need to pit.
Remember, Michael Waltrip has never won a non-restrictor plate race. Maybe today's his best shot. Remember last year in this event, he finished 4th, starting from the front row.
But I'm going to tell you what, how about that Budweiser car, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 8 car? Remember, he qualified way up in the top 3, had to go in the rear of the field because of an engine change. He topped off and pitted on lap 5, topped off with fuel. That caution played right in his favor. He's up there in 2nd place.
Elliott Sadler got way out of the gas up in turn 2 as Greg Biffle came to pit road unexpectedly here.
It got to be a flat tire, Mike, the way he was up there in the middle of the corner, and then he all of a sudden had a problem, and he had to dive to pit road.
Pretty much of all of our cars out there, everybody has been to pit road at least one time, except for our leader, Tony Stewart, in the 20, and Michael Waltrip in the 15. And as long as we don't have a long green run, those guys will be okay with what they did.
Here's what happened to Biffle. Left side of your screen there.
Yeah, you see him go up the hill, the car wobbles, he definitely got a problem. There's what we call a tar problem.
He really was very lucky where it happened right there. He was able to get right to pit road.
It wasn't a car problem, it was a tar problem.
Biffle back on track, a lap down. Pole sitter Bobby Labonte backing up to 12th place. Now, 6 of those spots were drivers who did not pit. They restarted in front of him, but Bobby's not been coming back to the front.
And he faded a little bit last week, kind of like he's doing today. We kept waiting for him to recover and get back up front, but he never did. So hopefully he's got his car where he can adjust it on his first pit stop. What about it, Matty?
Well, VW, they contemplated making changes. They didn't make any changes, though, except for a 2-tire change on that last stop. His car was loose on entry, tight in the center, but Bobby said the biggest thing that was hurting him, it was tight up off the corner.
Well, it sounds like he's got a problem at every part of the corner. If he's loose in, tight in the center, and tight off, I think the first thing they got to do is get him where he's tight enough getting in the corner and then fix the center off.
Yeah, probably raise the track bar up a little bit. But, you know, you can run off a turn 4 with a little bit of a tight car, a little bit of a push. But you can't get off a turn 2 with it.
You know what happens when you take 2 beer cans and squash them together? About what just happened between Sterling and Dale Jr. Dale took the pop top off Sterling's car, not once, but twice. Just slammed the door on him.
This bud's for you, Silver Bullet.
That's it. Wow.
But I'm going to tell you what, Sterling Marlin in that 40 car, like Dale Earnhardt Jr., he got that track position because he's one of those cars that pitted on lap 5 for fuel up there in the 3rd place. Remember, a year and a half ago, Sterling is the one that got Dodge their first win in their comeback to Winston Cup right here at Michigan.
Now there's a 74 of Tony Raines, the white car, trying to hang on because he did not stop for tires, and he's trying to battle hard against cars that did.
I like Tony Raines. I think he's a real diamond in the rough, if you will. I think he's got a lot of talent. And, they do a really good job for a team that has no sponsor.
Rusty Wallace looking for some racing room.
Inside only, inside in.
Up front, they have run down Tony Stewart.
Oh, Junebug's looking for the lead.
He's going to get it.
He got it. Oh, I don't know. Maybe Sterling will just join the little party here.
He led that lap there, right there. He gets those valuable 5 points, remember, from last to first after that engine change.
Boy, Tony really fights back strong on the outside, and that's what you can do off a 2 over there. You get up high, you get all that momentum, get a big run. And as you can see, it really picks up your speed down the back straightaway.
I wonder how much of a fight it was, Darrell. Junior had to get up there and lead a lap. Mission accomplished. Tony, you want to lead? Go lead. What do you think?
I've never known an Earnhardt to back off.
Good point. Now it's a foursome. I love to watch guys like Ryan Newman and Kurt Busch because they only have 2 speeds. Full throttle, parked in the garage.
Yeah, what I like about them is they're relentless. They're up. It's like every lap they're qualifying, Mike. They're out there. They're just driving the wheels. When we say driving the wheels off a thing, up on the wheel, all those things explain those guys. That's their description, who they are. You back off a little bit, say I'm going to ride, look out, so they'll go right by you.
They had run to the front before pit stops, and they're doing it again. The Alltel Dodge for Newman, the Rubbermaid Ford for Kurt Busch.
And Jeff Gordon told me that. He said, you know, things have, I said, how are things, you know, changed over the last 4 or 5 years out on the track? He said, you got to qualify every lap. You got to set your car up like you're going to qualify. You got to drive like you're going to qualify.
Tell you what, look at Jeff Gordon in the 24 car right there. He's 8th. I've been watching him the last few laps through 3 and 4, especially as he heads off into turn 3 here shortly. He's been hunting the right line. I'm sure they're giving him lap times. I'm sure they're telling him where the leaders are running. There you see right there, leader Tony Stewart about the middle of the racetrack, but Sterling Marlin in the 40 all the way at the top.
Dick Berggren.
Gordon just keyed the radio, and what he said was that they missed it on the gear big time. Every lap, he's hitting the chip. In other words, the engine is running out of RPM before he goes as far as he'd like to go and slow down for the corner.
Well, I'm not totally surprised at what he's saying right there because, Darrell, we watched both practices yesterday. I never saw Jeff Gordon run against the wall. When you run against the wall, you turn more RPMs because you carry momentum off the corner. Probably is running out of gear.
But the longer they go, the slower they get, and the better that gear will work. Now, he's always pull that chip out if he has to when it comes time.
I'm going to tell you a guy that we did watch in that practice session right against the wall. There you see him, Ricky Craven in that Tide car. He was there from the very beginning of practice, started back in 37th. He is on the move. He's up to 18th.
Well, that's a good place to be right now because there's grip up there right now. But what happens is everybody gets to running up there, and pretty soon you're a good groove. It's so good to you right now, it goes away, and you got to start looking for somewhere else to run.
Matt Kenseth got so high up the racetrack in turn 4, he dusted up the debris that was left up there near the wall and came very close to the concrete, as did Jimmy Spencer 2 laps ago between 1 and 2.
Matt Kenseth has been one of the few cars I've seen rim riding against the wall in both ends of the racetrack.
Well, don't look now, but coming off of turn 4.
For the lead, here comes Newman.
I told you not to look. It wasn't time to look. Now it's time to look.
But all those folks at home, they want to see it. They want to know. Newman on the bottom against Sterling Marlin for second place. 25 laps, 50 miles at Michigan International Speedway. Tony Stewart leading Sterling Marlin, Ryan Newman, Kurt Busch, and Michael Waltrip.
Fox welcomes you back live to Michigan, and Sterling Marlin and Tony Stewart battling for the lead. You see Ryan Newman up there. We are 30 laps in. And that's a view from, I believe, Tony Stewart's car.
Yeah, we see right there Tony Stewart down, kind of moved to the top of the racetrack. He and Sterling Marlin. You see Ryan Newman down low, and moving back in the picture is Kurt Busch. And one of the guys I've been kind of keeping an eye on was a man who won here at Michigan in the fall last year with Dale Jarrett. He's been struggling once again, started about 25th, has fallen all the way back down to about 36th position, and he's been having a lot of trouble right there. And you see Dale Earnhardt Jr., he's continued to make his way up through the pack, and that's in-car camera right there of Dale Jarrett. You see right there, he's kind of wrestling with that wheel right there. Not quite as smooth as you'd like to see him, Chris.
Yeah, and 4 times he's won here at Michigan in the 88 car at Dale Jarrett. Let's check in now with Dick Berggren. Dick?
Well, you're listening to the radio, Chris, and Dale Jarrett said he is loose up high, he's loose down low, he's loose getting in, the right rear tire won't fight, and he's not good getting on the gas. Can't be much more wrong than that. To Matt.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been fighting a race car, he says, doesn't have overall grip. Tony Jr., a possible motor problem. I heard Dale Jr. say the motor was starting to tighten up.
Yeah, he's not sure. He just says the car won't run off the corner like it should. We was pretty good there at the start of the race. It's hitting the chip pretty hard, which we've done that last race here, so we really wasn't worried about that. But, you know, I think he just got to kind of get used to what the car is doing right now. We were real loose in practice yesterday, so we're just going to fill it out and see what comes up.
He also says there's a little vibration as well.
4 cars fight for the lead at 32 laps. Darrell, I don't think I've ever seen this many cars running this high on this racetrack this early.
Well, again, I think it's a product of how hot it is. These tires are, you know, they're the kind of tires that you got to slide the car around a little bit. I think that's probably what's going on here. But poor Ryan Newman's got a great run on the bottom right here. That's the ticket. If you can get your car to work on the bottom while everybody else is up there cruising around the top. you're going to go right by a bunch of folks.
Speaking of the bottom there, Ryan Newman all the way on the apron. There's no out of bounds here in the 12 car.
That 8 car, one of the things that happened to me getting traffic here, with the car will buff a little bit. And it'll actually make the engine feel like there's something wrong with it. The front will buck up a little bit, take a little puff of air under it. And I've complained many times here about there's something wrong with the engine. But when I got out by myself, I was fine.
Mike Wallace cut down a tire going into turn 3, kept it off the wall, came to pit road. Wallace subbing for Jerry Nadeau, who continues to recover and recuperate from his Richmond crash. So Mike has made a pit stop, gone a lap down. He's back out as Newman guns for the lead again. Down below the white line, no out of bounds here. Good thing.
Do you think he and Tony are, Tony's not cutting him much slack, is he?
Not giving him a whole lot of room.
He says, not only you're not going to get the lead, don't forget, you didn't give me my lap back either.
But you know what's neat about these battles between these 4 cars, and we've been watching it now for about 20 or 25 laps. 3 of the makes is represented in this battle. You've got the 2 Dodges, you've got the Chevrolet of Tony Stewart, and right there behind you've got the Ford of Kurt Busch.
Now, all 3 of those cars at the front have led at least 1 lap. So this is for bragging rights right now. We're not point chasing for the lead here.
Yeah, and part of that buffing thing I was talking about, Mike, you compromise. Larry knows this, Jeff knows it. You compromise so much here. You want to keep the front fenders tucked in as much as you can, get good straightaway speed, but you need all the rear blades you can stand to get into the corner good. So therefore, the back of the car is actually being shoved down. Front of the car is being lifted up a little bit. So you got to keep adjusting on that.
For more on Sterling Marlin, who runs the outside of Newman for second, down to Speedway Illustrated's Dick Bergman.
Well, thanks, Mike. He has just heard in his ear a little reminder that the number 12 car and the number 20 car may well still be mad at each other. Ryan Newman would not give Stewart his lap back at Dover a couple of weeks ago, so Sterling has been told, be careful around those guys. They may still be mad at each other.
May?
Yeah. It's pretty obvious that they haven't forgotten. Now, whether they're mad at each other, I couldn't say about that, but they haven't forgotten.
On the left, battle for 7th place, Kevin Harvick, who's past Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And I'm going to tell you what, he's been slowly marching forward. They came up here and tested for a day, nothing race runs. This could be the best that Kevin Harvick has looked in several races in that Goodwrench car.
Whoa, Newman!
That is a big-time engine explosion right there, big time.
He needs to get that thing woed up and get out of it. That's oil. That's oil fire is what that is.
Clear, get under the bottom.
And you see he's still running well over 100 miles per hour with the engine not running.
You can't see.
Park it right there. There's a fire truck right there.
Boy, great job by the spotter to guide him to safety.
That was a good job.
You can see all the oil running out from under the car. That's what's burning. The inhaling all that smoke and not being able to see is the tough part.
Is that John Erickson?
John Erickson.
Yep. He's the general manager at Penske and has worked with Rusty for a long, long time since moving over there. Used to work for Pontiac Motor Division, and he is on the horn with Ryan and got him right to the right spot.
And Ryan had the presence of mind to not jump. You can't just slam on the brakes. Got all that oil coming out under the tires. You jump on the brakes, you're going to spin the thing out and back it up in the fence, then you are going to be in big trouble.
Coming off turn 2, halfway down the backstretch.
There she goes. I just don't know how these guys week in and week out turn these things 92 plus, 9,200 RPM plus every week.
Now here's where Ericsson's role is so important. We all know that the safety equipment can't move until the cars come down to pace car speed and have taken the caution flag. So he directs Newman to the fire truck.
Did you see the fire up inside the car? I mean, as we were looking at that, the whole right side of the car is engulfed in flames. Look at the dashboard in that car. Buddy, now that's getting hot.
Now, pretty much all of our leaders are coming to pit road. This caution really, to me, is a big break for Tony Stewart, Michael Waltrip, but their strategy paid off because they were first and fourth. Dick Bergman.
Sterling Marlin had pitted on lap 5. He had taken fuel only at that point. So on this pit stop, he's going to take 4 tires, going to pack as much gas in it as he can. To Matt.
And the 97 of Kurt Busch entered pit road in 3rd place. An air pressure adjustment. He was a little bit tight, Steve Burns.
Matt, no adjustments on the number 20 car of Tony Stewart. Mike Lingerfeld and Todd Foster changing tires. No adjustments. He's got a clear shit out of his pit, but he gets just around the 11 of Jeffrey Bodine.
Harvick and Jr. might have bumped just just a little bit as Junior tried to clear out of his pit. They had been battling for 7th place before the caution.
Well, this is another great pit road, just like we saw at Pocono. You got lots of room here. Got great big pit box. Whoa, that's hard to say. Big pit boxes.
And let's see the race off pit road.
There you see Sterling Marlin in the 40 car. He'll win the race. Tony Stewart in the 20. But look at this right here coming up. Sterling Marlin, the 15 car. They had a great run. Great pit stop. Look at that crew reaction. They win the race off pit road.
NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Old Spice, is brought to you by Ford. If you haven't looked at Ford lately, look again. And by Pizza Hut, home of the Pizzone Pizza. "40 laps complete at Michigan Speedway. Under caution, Sterling Marlin beat Tony Stewart. Michael Waltrip off the pit lane to lead. Our pole winner, winning crew chief, Michael Fatback McSwain.
Looks like George Jetson when he takes off.
Our Singular Wireless virtual crew chief question is this. Vote now from your Singular Wireless phone by sending the text message Fox to phone number 191 or visit foxsports.com to vote online, and stay tuned for the results. It is the color of money.
Oh, yeah, that's what I used to tell everybody. You know, Pearson, those guys wouldn't even park by my old Gatorade car, and then I had the Mountain Dew car. It was so green that the cows tried to eat it when they put it outside.
Speaking of money, Jeff Hammond is off selling away more pieces from the cutaway car, which is more cutaway than usual.
Mike, right now I'm going to try to explain maybe what happened as far as Ron Newman's engine is concerned. A lot of times when you have an engine that expires, I should say, blowed up, broken, whatever you want to talk about. I've been listening to Darrell too long. But what has happened here is probably the piston and the rod has come out the bottom of the oil pan. This is the piston as we see it. This is the piston has not been broken. If it goes down and it comes out the bottom of what we call the oil pan, this is the bottom of the oil pan. You can see the oil lines here. A lot of times those parts and pieces, not only we open the oil pan up, sometimes they'll actually cut these oil lines. And what happens, the oil goes from there to the headers, which are almost 1,000 degrees. Instantaneously we have a fire. By this oil coming out and getting on these headers continuously as it runs around the racetrack, that is where the fire is coming from. That's where the black smoke, the big oil puddle was underneath the car whenever it stopped. It's where it was coming from. All the oil out of the oil pan on these hot headers. And believe you me, as far as the driver's concerned, from the smoke as well as the fire, you definitely want to get out of that race car as quick as you can.
Of course, everything underneath that car is hot. The exhaust pipes, the rear end, and everything that oil's touching is causing a fire. And there you see Ryan Newman reacting, putting his window net down. And as we documented, he's still running close to 100 miles an hour.
Ryan Newman is okay, but his string of top 5 finishes has ended at 3. NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Old Spice, is brought to you by UPS, official delivery company of NASCAR. We want to race the truck. People love the truck. UPS delivers a chance to win 4 tickets to the Daytona 500. Log on to foxsports.com. Keyword UPS Racing. Terry Labonte, contender here, never won at Michigan, but he's been making several pit stops under caution. Matt?
A very fast race car for Terry Labonte, but Jim Long, you've made several trips to pit road. A problem with the engine?
We think we got some trash in the carburetor or something like that, and it's idling pretty bad, and it's running pretty good. It's running pretty good. It's just it's not running too good down the straightaway right now, and it'll probably affect our fuel mileage. So I don't know what's going to happen. We'll make the best of it.
Are you going to try to change the carburetor?
No, I don't think so. Too risky right now.
This is one problem that Jim Long told me this morning he had a concern about. They had to change engines after happy hour. They didn't have any time on this engine. He was crossing his fingers.
But you know, DW, I just believe if you come up with a good plan, if you get a lengthy caution, you get up behind that pace car, stay out a lap, get a good plan with 3 or 4 guys, I believe with these pace laps taking almost 2 minutes, you can change that carburetor. The key would be you need to speed leaving pit road. The penalty, started in the longest line, so what?
That's the way I do it.
Next weekend in Finnegan Raceway, Sears Point, Sonoma, California. And we'll be there for Winston Cup qualifying Friday. Winston Cup practice on FX on Saturday and Sunday with the Winston Cup Series on Fox.
Oh, trouble, turn 2.
Restart, trouble in turn 2. Steve Park.
Greg Biffle in the 16 car, he may get this lap back.
I don't think Park hit anything.
Mike Wallace in 01, the Army car as well. Remember, those guys had flat tires under green, and they will get back on the lead lap here at lap 48.
Yeah, they're the only 2 cars that are a lap down there, so no harm, no foul there. Let them go.
And that's 2 cars Tony Stewart won't have to contend with on the next restart. They'll be at the back of the pack.
And based on the way they've been running, probably 2 guys that can't beat him, so that's not a bad decision.
48 laps complete, 4 caution flags, and Darrell, Steve Park was toward the back of the pack and again up high out of the way as if maybe a tire had cut down.
Maybe that, or maybe the pressures are so low that when you go off in that first turn, the thing will spin out with you.
First, folks, let's show you the restart, because in the blink of an eye, Sterling Marlin on the outside took the green on the restart, and Tony Stewart wasted no time in making his move to take the lead back.
Kind of splits him right down here as he goes in, gets up in the middle of 1 and 2 down here. Watch him. He cuts that thing to the middle, shoots the gap. Yeah, Park just got in there, got up out of the groove, picked up trash on his tires, spun out. Luckily, he didn't hit anything.
You see a big donut on his number right there.
Yeah, but I think the right rear tire might have been down.
Steve Park brings out the 4th caution of the day on Father's Day in Michigan. Tony Stewart's our leader. NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Old Spice, is brought to you by Pepto-Bismol, first aid for stomachs. Use as directed. By Discover to Go, it pays to discover. By Miller Lite, tell it over a great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. And by Subway, fresh made sandwiches on fresh baked bread. Subway, eat fresh.
With Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers, this is a Visa race break. 5 leaders, 12 lead changes. We've gone 50 laps. Tony Stewart, your leader. Our 4th caution from Dale Jarrett's car.
Yeah, we're looking inside on that last restart. You see the 43 car right here. Fittipaldi goes up and gets into the 30 car right there, driven by Steve Park, and around goes Steve Park right there after that contact right there. Both those guys came together and hit pretty hard. Gets up in the loose stuff, and away he goes.
And you see the car continue as we're getting ready to go green. Let's go back upstairs.
And I said it was his right rear tire, but it was his left rear tire.
It was a contact.
It was, as Junior would say, is one of his hind tires.
40 cars on the lead lap for this restart. Tony Stewart takes off. Sterling Marlin battling Kurt Busch for 2nd place. Here's Matt.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. very descriptive under that caution. Tony even saying the engine might be possessed. Where do we even begin?
I don't know. He's kind of worked up today. We just got a driveline vibration. He thought it was in the motor to start. Now he thinks this might be in the driveline. But, we're just going to take it for what it is. I mean, we didn't have any practice on any of the stuff underneath the car. So we got what we cards to deal. So we'll just do the best we can do and go on today.
At one point, he said it went away when he pushed the clutch in. What do you think it may be?
Yeah, it's just something as simple as the drive shaft needing to be turned a half a turn, or just a small vibration in the gear. These things don't take but something minute just to make a little small vibration run at these speeds. So, just like I said, we'll just take it for what it is and we'll deal with it.
Steve Burns. Well, Matt, the left rear tire up the number 30 car of Steve Park is still smoking here behind the team's pit box, but the team did a good job. They came in, changed right side tires, went back on the racetrack so they would not lose a lap, came back down and put the left side tires on and went back down onto the racetrack.
They accomplished that because he is still on the lead lap back in 39th position.
And Junior said his engine was possessed. I've had a few of them repossessed. Never had one possessed.
For the lead, Marlin has a run on the left of your screen on Tony Stewart.
And we have a battle between teammates on the right-hand side, Dale Earnhardt Jr., 8 car, Michael Waltrip in the 15 car. That's a battle for 5th.
About to have a battle for 4th. Jeff Gordon swept around Dale Earnhardt Jr. last time by. Now he draws a bead on Kurt Busch for 3rd. Now Ryan Newman, after blowing an engine and having a fiery ride down toward the rescue folks at the crash truck, has been released from the care center. Dick Bergeron's with him.
Been in there for a long time, Ryan. You okay?
Just taking on some oxygen. I pulled a fire extinguisher on the way down the hill there, and kind of choked me up pretty bad. And on top of being on fire, that was kind of the scary part, not being able to breathe. But just took on a bunch of oxygen. All told, Dodge was running good, obviously, but something popped in the motor and made one heck of a fire.
How frightening a ride was that?
I didn't think, when I first saw the fire, I thought it was just going to be an oil fire, and I've watched Mel Kenyon several times catch on fire and just kind of ride out an oil fire, but that wasn't an oil fire, that was something else, and it's scary, no doubt, but happy to be able to walk away. Thank God for that.
We're glad you're okay. He was spectacular 2 weeks ago at Dover, where he won. Same car, spectacular again today, but not the way he wanted it, Mike.
And midget great Mel Kenyon inducted with Darrell into that Hall of Fame in that ceremony Thursday night among the 8 inductees.
Yeah, he was, and of course he doesn't have his right hand is he lost it in a fire, and he still managed to come up with a way to drive a race car.
You know, in the first 50 laps, our pole sitter Bobby Labonte in that 18 car, he had drifted back, but now he is on the move. He is up to the 8th position. He had fell back about as far as 12th or 13th just not that many laps ago.
His left, I got my right and my left mixed up today. It was his left hand. I know because I was sitting by him. If you'd like, I could explain understeer and oversteer and all that stuff.
We'll have time.
Okay.
I'll tell you another car on the move right there. Our points leader, Matt Kenseth, in that 17 car, started back in 21st. Jeff and I both talked to his crew chief, Robbie Reiser. They were not happy with that car. Tons of changes, but it looks like the racetrack may be coming to him because he's up to 11th, battling to get in the top 10.
Now, no kidding, when Jeff Gordon drove the Formula One car, the Williams BMW at Indy this week, and Montoya got in the stock car, Jeff was talking understeer and oversteer. It was Montoya that was talking about the car he drove in terms of push and loose.
Yeah, well, see, most of us guys that run stock cars, we think that those sophisticated racers don't think we know the difference or that we don't talk in those terms. And so every now and then you have to impress them with your knowledge or lack thereof.
Sometimes. Usually the former, not the latter. Tony Stewart, Sterling Marlin, Jeff Gordon to 3rd, Kurt Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr. That's the top 5. Kevin Harvick, Bobby Labonte, then this battle, Michael Waltrip, Rusty Wallace, Matt Kenseth, Mayfield, and Jeff Burton.
I'm going to tell you what, riding right here with Jeremy Mayfield, he started back in 20th position, and he's up to 11th, up to 12th right now behind Jeff Burton. I talked to Ray Evernham last night, his car owner, and because of Bill being a little injured, Ray said he went to Jeremy and said, whatever you have to do, we're in Detroit, we have to have a good run here today.
Fox Track shows you the speed here. Now that's just midway down the back straightaway.
And that's the short straightaway. The back straightaway is.
They sail it off in there up to 193 miles an hour.
The back stretch is 2,240 feet long, and the front straightaway is 3,600 feet long. So obviously you're going to get a lot more speed going down into turn 1. And Sterling just got a good run on Tony, and he's going to take the lead.
13th lead change of the day, and we're only 120 miles into the 400 here.
Darrell, it just looks like you just can't complete the pass. You think you have the pass completed when you get to the end of the straightaway, but you can't complete it.
I think Sterling's got this thing under control here. He's running that high line. He gets that good momentum off the turn. A lot of straightaway speed. That's how he set Tony up. He looks like he maybe is a little better down here in 3 and 4, and he is in 1 and 2, which is not unusual.
But you're right, Larry. Sometimes a driver will get a run and not be able to seal the deal like this. A lap ago, Michael Waltrip leading Matt Kenseth. Kenseth gets a run.
Ooh. Yeah, Michael just kind of closed the door on him. Not the best of moves. Kenseth did a good job of avoiding an accident.
But Matt did complete the pass on him for 9th.
Yeah, I think if I was Michael, I'd probably waved him on by after that.
Ricky Craven continues his march to the front. He started 37th. By 40 laps was up to 21st.
and he's been right there in that groove since the drop of the green flag. It's a 2-mile racetrack. I talked to Cal Wells, his car owner, last night. I said, Cal, you're running about 2¼ miles every lap because you're not running the 2-mile length.
But you saw how Jimmy was right on the bottom underneath the 32 car. But when you exit the corner under power, you got to have the whole racetrack. And with the 32 car out there like he is right now, Jimmy just can't stay in the throttle. He's got to get out of it right about there and give it up a little bit to Craven, duck back in, and he'll try it again down here. Looks like he's got a little something hanging out of the rear of that thing.
Looks like a little damage behind the left rear, right there at the rear bumper.
Jamie McMurray had a big run on Elliott Sadler coming off turn number 2. Now he's down to the bottom, tries to complete the pass. Spencer, where are you going, man? Elliott Sadler was coming up the racetrack, and he almost narrowed Mongo up a whole bunch there.
Mongo was barking then, baby, or howling, or whining. I don't know what Mongo was doing. I guarantee he was drawed up.
Mongo deserves a treat for that one.
By the way, drawed up is the same as drawn up.
I'm going to tell you what, though. We're going to keep a close watch.
You're hauling ass.
We're going to keep a close watch. Yes, he is. We're going to keep a close watch on Jamie McMurray in that 42 cars. We have the side-by-side battle here with Mark Martin in the 6th and Bill Elliott in the 9th. That is a battle for 15th position. But back to Jamie McMurray, he started way back in provisional in 39th, the first provisional he's used this year. But this is the same race car. He was so strong with it, Fontana. Similar characteristics here.
And they've improved that race car on pit stops, Larry. That car is really a bullet coming off the second corner and down the backstretch. Dick?
Well, he was talking to Jeff Hammond and I this morning, Jamie McMurray was, and he called himself a real sleeper. He said this car is as good here as it was in California. Came in with a lot of optimism today. He thinks he can win the race, and maybe he can.
Just in front of him is Todd Bodine. And it was Todd who raced to his brother's aid yesterday when Brett had that hard crash at turn number 2. Oldest brother Jeffrey is here to drive Brett's car. And I'll tell you about these Bodines. They're like the sons of Katie Elder. You take on one, you got to take on the whole bunch. They really support each other.
Yeah, and Todd had bad luck last night in Kentucky in the Busch race. Got involved in a late race crash there. And after leading the points almost well up until the last couple of weeks, things have turned bad for him. Blown engine at Nashville and then the wreck last night.
Sterling Marlin, Tony Stewart in front of this battle. Gordon Jr., Kurt Busch. Leader. Stewart's almost stalking Sterling Marlin. 64 laps, 128 miles complete in the Sirius 400. Michigan International Speedway filled to capacity, all 136,000 seats as you see them from our aerial coverage provided today by Budweiser. Tony Stewart is wearing Sterling Marlin out, and this time he's going to get the lead. That's Derek Coates slow on the apron and headed for pit road.
Points leader right there, Matt Kenseth in the 17 car. I mean, he is rim riding. We've been watching him for a number of laps, and he just drove by Jeff Gordon. That was a battle for 4th.
Oh yeah, my old car ain't too good today, and boy, we got it all messed up. And I don't know if we're going. I don't know what we're going to do.
Well, they woke it up, that's for sure. Darrell spoke earlier about how this place mentally will work. Caution is out. There is oil on the racetrack in turn 1 and 2, likely from Derek Cope's car. So we are under caution for the 5th time at lap 70. Cope, who time trialed his way into the field. And the Great Barrier Reef 37 has coasted to the garage.
Now this is gentleman's agreement right here. This is what gentleman's agreement means. See how all the guys holding their positions. They're all on the lead lap. We're coming back to the caution. Hold your position. That's gentleman's agreement.
Steve Burns, what's going to happen on pit stops?
Well, Mike, we've been listening to Tony Stewart and Greg Zipadelli talk. They're contemplating taking right side tires only or making an air pressure adjustment. Let's go to Dick.
Marlin is going to thank his lucky stars. That's what he's going to do on this pit stop, because just a lap before that caution flag, he hit his radio and said he thought he had a flat. Then came the caution. What a lucky break. To Matt.
Kurt Busch running in the top 5, telling Jimmy Finning they're a little bit off on the chassis. They're loose, especially on exit. They're talking about making a wedge or possibly track bar adjustment on this next stop, which should be 4 tires.
And I definitely know what Greg Zimpadelli's thinking. He sees how important track position is, being out in that clean air. It's been about 32 laps, though, Darrell, since these guys were to pit road. A lot of those laps were caution, but I'm going to tell you, you have to be so careful when you've got that good of a race car. 2 tires will change the handling characteristics of that car.
But he's going to get a break, Larry, because he has an empty pit in front of him, the pit vacated by Ricky Rudd.
This is when you got to come in and do just what you do if the race was getting ready to end, because this thing can go green, and you don't want to do anything now that's going to affect a green flag pit stop.
And going about 45 laps on a green flag stop, that means they'd be up there around 70-something laps on those left side tires by just changing 2.
That'd be ugly.
Here they come. We'll split them, the first 3 cars on the left side of your screen, and start with Dick Berggren.
Sterling Marlin is going to take 4 tires on this automobile. This is the same car that led more laps than any other car last week at Pocono. Sterling finished 6th there. Very disappointed in the way it ended up. Hopes he's going to do a whole lot better today. To Matt.
3 DNFs here at Michigan in the time that he has finished. Kurt Busch came home with a 10th place finish. This will be a 4-tire change as Scott Radel hits the jack on the left side. Tires going on to Steve Burns.
Matt, at the last second, they decided to change all 4 tires on the 20 car of Tony Stewart and make a small chassis adjustment. He heads back down pit road.
Marlin's going to win the race off the pit lane over Kurt Busch.
You know, there may have been someone that changed just 2 tires, but pretty much everybody I could see and watch, they changed 4 tires. But yeah, like you say, Sterling Marlin in the 40, he will win the race off pit road.
Again.
And we're updated that it's rear end grease from Derek Cope that brought out this caution as Kurt Busch's crew celebrates a quick pit stop. NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Old Spice, is brought to you by Pontiac Grand Prix, official pace car of NASCAR for 33 years.
You back a quick recap. Second lap, Ken Schrader, the 49 car, and Steve Park get into it. Ricky Rudd is involved in the 21. Both Rudd and Schrader knocked out. 695th consecutive race for Rudd. And then, of course, Dave Blaney spins out, causing a caution.
Right there, looked like Blaney got just a little bit high. Round he went into the wall, but he has continued.
And then on lap 36, Ryan Newman, his car catches fire, and as you explained, Jeff, the bottom portion of the engine goes. He does a good job of saving this, and his spotter getting him to the fire rescue unit.
In a situation like that right there, you're talking about driver as well as spotter keeping cool heads and helping one another.
And then moments ago, the 4th caution, all of inside of the first 50 laps of this race.
Yes, that's right there. What happened there, Fittipaldi got into the 30 car right there, Steve Park, and about forced him up high and around he went. But again, he was able to come in, get 4 brand new Goodyears, and he is still back on the racetrack.
74 laps into 200 scheduled laps here in Michigan. Sterling Marlin leads Kurt Busch, Tony Stewart running 3rd. We've had 6 leaders and 16 lead changes. We'll be back for the restart here in just a moment.
A lot's changed in a century, from our Ford Cutaway car to the Henry Ford Sweepstakes Racer, the car that Henry drove in his first and only auto race in 1901. He was broke, and his dreams of starting a new car company were all but dashed. But Ford, if you haven't looked lately, look again. They recreated this race. That's Edsel Ford II, today's Grand Marshal, with Ford engineer Glenn Miller. And you may have noticed John Force co-riding with Charlie Huff, the great-grandson of Alexander Winton, who was the Jack Roush of his day as a car builder and the John Force of his day as a racer. Winton was heavily favored in the 1901 race in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, but Henry Ford's engineering won him the day. Ceramic insulated spark plugs were his speed secret. He won the race, attracted backing, and on this weekend in 1903, founded the Ford Motor Company, all because of his one race victory.
That's the rest of the story.
76 laps complete. They're going to come around for the restart to begin lap 77, and in honor of the century of Ford Motor Company being celebrated in Dearborn and here at the Speedway today.
Crank it up.
Green, green, green.
able to hold off the advances of Tony Stewart and now Curtin Busch in the second spot. Stewart third, Jeff Gordon fourth, and hunting the third position, Dale Jr. fifth.
And all these caution flags we've had, if your car was off a little bit at the start of this show, you've been able to keep adjusting. I think that's really helping the 24 car, Jeff Gordon.
Rusty Wallace on the move there at 7th place, just in front of point leader Matt Kenseth in the DeWalt Ford. But here's Matt.
Well, it's also been a work in progress for Bobby Labonte as he's calling off times from his crew chief Fatback McSwain. Fatback, been a work in progress. How's that race car now?
We're getting there. We've made a lot of changes, changed something every stop. We're pretty good on the beginning of a run. We're a little bit off later in the run, but we'll keep working on it. We'll see if we can't get back where we need to be.
Now, 2 great 13-second stops by your crew, but you weren't talking to the officials. Why?
Yeah, we got a pretty good view here of pit road. A lot of people ain't obeying the speed limit. I want to see if Mr. Highway Patrol can't do something about it.
And I think who Fatback's talking about, and I got to say it, Fox says we have to tell the story. I think they're complaining about Rusty Wallace. Darrell, I love Rusty to death, but I complained about his pit road speed for 15 years.
I didn't ever see him in the penalty box.
Well, let's check with Steve.
Well, guys, I don't know if he sped on pit road, but I can tell you this. They pulled a spring rubber out of the left rear and still gained 2 spots on pit road.
Well, I'm going to tell you now, they've been getting the job done on pit road because back at Lowe's Motor Speedway about a month ago, Rusty pretty much dropped the hammer on that pit crew, and they have rose to the occasion ever since.
Third place changes hands. Jeff Gordon to the outside of Kurt Busch.
Jeff's definitely got his car better. He wasn't able to make passes like that early in the race, but he's certainly got it better now.
And Junior passing Kurt Busch. That's 4th place. Busch slips to 5th.
And you know, we've seen this a lot out of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the Budweiser car. It seems like he can go forward at the beginning of the run, running off the fresh tires, but he deteriorates into a long run.
Jeff Gordon closing on race leader Sterling Marlin and runner-up Tony Stewart. Dick Bergman.
Car is better. Jeff Gordon doing a lot better right now, Mike. I'm looking over my notes, and about every 10 or 15 laps, it seems as if during this race he has called the pits and said the car was tight, tight, tight. On that last pit stop, they pulled a rubber out of the left rear. That ought to loosen him up.
And it will. What it does, it just softens that left rear spring, and instead of holding the force down on the left rear tire, keeping the car tight, it'll loosen the car up by letting that tire just float a little freer.
Headlines this week that Tuesday, Jeff Gordon and White Brook reached a settlement that was accepted by the court in Florida on Thursday, and their divorce finalized. So Gordon out here and in quite a good mood. I think probably more from that Indy test on Wednesday than anything else, but he came here to run.
Yes, he did. He did enjoy himself. But I'm going to tell you what, his teammate, Joe Nemechek, in the 25 car, he's been locked in a battle with Jamie McMurray in the 42, Jeff Burton in the 99, and his other teammate, Terry Labonte, who looks like they're overcoming that carburetor problem. These guys been locked up racing for about 16th ever since that restart.
Yeah, I noticed Terry there a little bit ago. Looked like on the restart he wasn't very good, but then he got going after a while, so maybe that thing's getting better. These guys here, you should have seen the move that Kenseth put on Rusty down here in 3 and 4 a while ago. He squeezed through a lot like Mongo did, and I don't know how he made it, but he did.
And he brought Jeremy Mayfield in a 19 car in that Dodge. Look at him go to the bottom right here trying to complete the pass on Matt Kenseth. This will be a battle for 7th. Jeremy Mayfield has not had a top 10 finish since the Daytona 500. They could use a good run here.
And Kenseth's average finish here is 10th. So he's right on track for another good, consistent, point-producing day.
Jimmy Johnson and Kevin Harvick side by side, 2 of the California kids.
Well, Jimmy runs down on the bottom like that, and you're always going to be struggling when your car will only work on the bottom. Because see how it makes it push loose, can't get back in the throttle, can't complete a pass.
Tell you what, right behind this group, Ward Burton in that Caterpillar car, the 22 car, qualified back in 31st. This group is starting to show a little bit of strength. Coming together, Frankie Stoddard. They finished 8th at Pocono last week. No top 5 finishes this year, but a couple of top 10s just in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and they're sitting there up to 12.
For more on Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Hammond.
Mike, I was talking to Chad Canals, the crew chief for this car, earlier this morning, and they were very unhappy with their race car yesterday afternoon. So they basically come in this morning, they changed 3 springs, 4 shocks, a sway bar, also worked the nose weight around and everything like that. So they've really worked on this car to try to get it better for Jimmy, but so far, I mean, they still continue to struggle. He's not quite where he needs to be yet, even though this is a car that they ran in California.
Ian Harvick on the bottom, Raven running way up top.
I think Jimmy's just going to have to get up a little higher off the bottom of the racetrack. I know the bottom's going to, maybe he's working there to get it right for the end of the race, but it's hurting him right now.
Ricky Craven in the 32 car, he just drove by Kevin Harvick, so that will move him into the top 10, 10th position. But Jimmy Johnson, there he is on the right around the bottom of the racetrack in the Lowe's car. He wants that 10th position as well.
Did somebody tick the left rear of Johnson's car? Is there something
it's a
in the
little,
back hanging out?
It's that little bit of area right back there has been that way for quite a while.
All right, let's check with Steve Burns.
With Billy Wilburn, crew chief on the 2 car. What is Rusty saying after that stop, Billy?
Well, right now we're just a little bit on the loose side, but we've been tight the whole first part of the race, so we need to free the car up a little bit, but I'm thinking it'll come to us.
On that last pit stop, you took a spring rubber out. Sounds like the 18 team thought you guys might have been too fast on pit road.
Well, they probably ought to just pay attention to their own race, and yeah, we did pull a rubber out, but we had a good pit stop. We gained a couple positions, and we're looking to finish up good in this race.
Sounds like us going down the highway, Darrell. If we didn't get a ticket, we must have been legal.
That's right. And that's about what NASCAR would tell you, too. Just worry about your car. We'll take care of that 2 car.
Johnny Benson in the 10. You're riding with Kenny Wallace. That's Greg Biffle, who was a lap down,
Keep digging.
but is now back on the lead lap. And Mark Martin fighting with Joe Nemechek, and there's teammate Jeff Burton right behind. They're trailing Jamie McMurray in the 42. How about McMurray up to 17th place? And another driver who, like Matt Kenseth, didn't have much to show this weekend until race day.
Well, sometimes, your race day setup is your best setup. You just don't have that fast 1 lap setup to put in the car, but when you get ready to race and get out there with all the other guys, you've got a good package.
Go back to Fontana, California, where he finished 5th. That's where he was so good, was on long runs. He didn't need that lost caution there.
You're watching the NASCAR Winston Cup Series on Fox, presented by Old Spice. NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Old Spice, is brought to you by Wendy's new Southwest Chicken Caesar Salad. By RE/MAX, outstanding agents, outstanding results. New Quaker State, the power to reduce friction. And by the United States Army, an army of one. 94 laps, 188 miles complete at Michigan. We want to extend a welcome to all of the U.S. military men and women stationed around the world, on land and at U.S. Navy ships at sea, watching today's race live via America Forces Network. We're grateful for everything you folks do for our country, and that includes our reserve and guard personnel at home.
Now, guys, we're approaching halfway here, and we still have 38 cars on the lead lap. Now, Dave Blaney, who has spent about 20-something laps behind the wall in the garage area, he comes back to the racetrack, so we only have 4 cars out. Derek Cope, Ryan Newman, Kenny Schrader, and Ricky Rudd.
Well, I tell you what, my buddy got his carburetor fixed. He's up to 13th place, Terry Labonte, in that 5 car, and he has come from the back because they kept coming in and out, working on that thing, and he is hooking the bottom and doing a really good job of it.
I'll tell you what, Darrell, he's able to drive that thing pretty deep into the corner, and the car does a good job of sticking.
Yeah, he's really getting into the turns well, and up until he got clear track here, he's driven by every one of these cars that's behind him right there on the bottom, and now he's up in front and in clean air and pulling away. Good for him.
Bill Elliott right with him. Elliott driving still injured, had broken toes in that crash a few weeks ago, but running well here today. Elliott, the winningest active driver at Michigan, in 15th. Back up front.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
You know, this is about the biggest lead anybody's had today. A quarter, a half a second, no more.
I'll tell you what, this is our leader, Sterling Marlin in the 40 and Tony Stewart in the 20. I've been watching this scoring monitor. This car coming right there, the orange car, Ricky Craven in the Tide car. He definitely, almost every lap over the last 10 laps, has had the fastest race car. He drove right by Rusty Wallace, right by Jeremy Mayfield. He's up to 8th position. Little pit stop, maybe a little caution, put him right in the thick of things.
Well, and of course, OTIDE is running good, but if I look on that monitor, I see one Pontiac in the top 20. Well, Sprague's in 20th. So you got Craven up in 8th. He's doing a good job of carrying the Pontiac banner today.
Moving forward to 6th place and our point leader, Matt Kenseth. I don't think I'd talk to Robbie Reiser race morning anymore. Talking about how bad they were. Well, however bad they were, they have sure turned it around with their race setup.
We got a battle for the lead right here going down the backstretch. But yeah, Robert Reiser told me we'll be lucky if we run in the top 20.
He's been lucky all season.
You guys kill Larry, you and Jeff, y'all kill me. You go talk to those crew chiefs, they don't know. They're just not telling us. They just tell y'all anything, like fuel mileage, and you got to talk to the driver, man.
Whoa, new leader and a crossover move. Tony Stewart led this race for about 3 seconds, and Marlon went right back after him.
What do you think, Hammond? I mean, don't you think y'all to talk to the driver?
Why? You're gonna lie to us anyway. I mean, it's gonna be no different. At least Robbie was being honest. He was working on his race car. He wasn't happy with it. And Larry will tell you, they weren't jerking our legs or pulling our legs on that deal because they were working our race car. So they made the right changes, and that's the reason why they're up there in the point lead right now. They're making the right changes when it comes time for race day. They know what to do with their race cars.
No, trust me, you did the right thing by talking to the crew chief because the driver doesn't have a clue. I'm telling you, he doesn't know till he gets in it what he's got.
You know why we can't talk to the driver? We have to leave the garage area at 11 o'clock to go to work.
You ought to be over there where the drivers are if you want to talk to them.
Halfway here at Michigan International Speedway, and going around his teammate Kurt Busch is Matt Kenseth up into the top 5. Matt?
Mike, those changes this morning and changes during the race have helped propel Matt Kenseth up into the top 10. Started 20th last year, went to victory lane in this race, started 21st today. He was loose on that last run during the stop. Robbie Reiser called for a track bar adjustment and an air pressure adjustment. Matty says the car is still a little free. He has changed his line a little bit. Just now moved into the top 5.
I'm going to tell you, Matt, though, watching this scoring monitor along with Ricky Craven, he definitely has one of the fastest cars. But we're halfway, and Sterling Marlin, he'll be credited with leading the halfway lap, lap 100.
Let's go to the 3rd place pit and Dick Berggren.
With crew chief Robbie Loomis, you have got Jeff's car running a whole lot better now, running in 3rd spot. How much more can you do to help him, Robbie?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say happy Father's Day to my dad and Mr. Henry back home. Really, the car was extremely tight earlier in the race. Pulled that rubber out of the left rear, now the car actually started a little free. We're hoping for a long run here, kind of get a good read on the car. Most of the runs today have been a little short run, so we're going to have to tighten up a little bit right now, probably.
Gordon's decade of racing here, he has 5 second-place finishes and a pair of wins, Mike Joy.
Thanks, Dick.
And Mike, you know, I was watching TV, watching Dave Despain on Wind Tunnel, and there was a question about world's greatest drivers. And I would just submit to you that these guys out here on Sunday afternoon, we run more 500-mile races, more 400-mile races, more races, period, than any other kind of race car drivers or race cars in the world. And so when you talk about focus, commitment, physical fitness, things that it takes to be successful in motor racing, you're looking at the world's greatest race car drivers, in my opinion.
And we've had 16 lead changes, and we're only halfway through this race. Nothing against any of the other circuits. You may not have 16 lead changes in a full season.
Plus, they don't run 500 miles in a year, do they? Aren't there races you live about 150 miles, 100 miles, whatever they are?
Have a look at our Old Spice lap leaders in the last 2 races. Sterling Marlin and Tony Stewart have dominated laps led. Marlin led the most laps last week at Pocono. So far, he's led 2 more than Tony today.
I'm going to tell you what, he hadn't had a top 5 finish, but you take away that problem he had at Dover, and he had a good race car at Dover when him and Jeff Gordon got together. He is coming in a hurry because the last 7 races, 5 top 10 finishes. That group, I think they finally figured the balance out aero-wise on this new Dodge and the body location.
Steve Burns.
And Tony Stewart isn't not saying much on the radio today. He's got a good race car, but he just told his crew, Chief Greg Zippadelli, we're beating Sterling Marlin in 1 and 2, but he's beating us in turns 3 and 4.
And the end result is what we keep seeing right here.
Nobody's beating anybody.
Because their lap times are almost a mirror of each other every lap and has been almost the entire race.
I tell you, the guys right behind them, though, they're the ones that's closing the gap. The 32 and the 17. Now, the 17 got high off at 2 and allowed the 32 to get around, but they are closing up on these 2 lead cars. They'll be up here battling for the lead very, very shortly.
But, Darrell, when you race like they are up front, you can't clear the other guy. You can't get away. You're running side by side. Is it more fun or more frustrating?
Well, that's what my point was earlier about being frustrated. You get angry. I know it's Father's Day. You'd be mad at your dad if he was up on that radio because nobody will cut you any slack. You got too many grooves to run here, too many lines that you can run, and you get really annoyed because people won't work with you.
Marlin and Stewart have 3.7 seconds on Jeff Gordon. If they line up, might they run away from the field? Maybe we'll see when we come back. .220 of 400 miles complete at Michigan. Sterling Marlin leading Tony Stewart now by a second. And to answer that question, they have gotten single file and they have distanced Jeff Gordon now by 4.5 seconds. So they're trying to pull away. Meanwhile, Gordon's mirror begins to fill up with Ricky Craven, who a little bit ago was just a distant dot in Gordon's mirror, but he was big enough to notice. We listened in.
That 32 car in the lead lap. F4, 32 is one of the best cars right now. Ray Ron, is he running way up top? That's why I run the very, very top of all that.
Yes, Jeff Gordon, he has been running the top for about 111 laps.
It's what I would call over the top. He's been there. You heard him say in the pre-race, I'm going to start there on the pace laps.
Right. But that's what works for him.
Yeah, I mean, he just ran a 41.38, and the closest thing to him is our leader, Sterling Marlin, at a 41.67, 0.3 of a second.
Car looks a lot like it did at Darlington, Larry. I mean, it just gets up there in that high line, and he really accelerates hard off the corner.
And where was he so good at Darlington?
Long runs.
So Jeff Gordon has now begun to mirror Craven's line around the racetrack, at least in turns 3 and 4, and much the same at the south end of the speedway. Way up high.
And Jeff Gordon, his lap times, they have got a little better. Craven just ran a 41.46, and Jeff Gordon ran a 41.50 compared to 60s on the leaders.
Dick Berggren.
In June of 1996, Sterling Marlin led the most laps in the companion to this event, but he needed one extra stop for fuel, and that extra stop cost him the race. So this morning I asked his engine tuners, Tony Santana Cola, have you sacrificed any horsepower at all in exchange for fuel economy? Because this racetrack, Michigan, is known more than any others for fuel economy being important. Santana Cola looked at me as if I was completely out of my mind, and he said, not one horsepower.
No, you don't want a second.
Well, Dick, listening to Tony Stewart, he has just radioed in and said his car is tight in the center, a little bit tight when he gets back on that gas pedal.
And Steve, of course, the good thing, and Dick, is we've had the longest green run we've had the entire race, and we're probably within about 5 to 10 laps of this first green flag stop for everyone.
You know what I'd be working on? This is my car. I'd be working on my gas tank.
Where you'd have more.
That's right.
Darrell, I don't think that's in the gray area anymore. Let's have a look at Tony Stewart's on the gas.
Well, you can see that he's full throttle right there. Got her all the way over 100%. Heading down into turn 3 here. It's going to drive hard down in there. Now you ease out the throttle, but not all the way. Play with the throttle and then mat it. That's when you got a good race car. When you can get into the turn, get a car set, and stay in the throttle off the corner. That's a good race car here at Michigan.
Very little brake here, though, Darrell.
Nah, you just lay your foot over there, your left foot braker. You just lay it over there, and you might lay your foot on it, but you're not really using it.
And just talking about fuel mileage and strategy, with all these cars being the pit road back on lap 72, right now, unless we get cautions, there's really no strategy. From that point, it's going to take everyone 2 pit stops to get to the end of the race.
You saw Kyle Petty there in the 45, who's just gone a lap down to Sterling Marlin. Jeff Gordon's reeling him back in. That gap is down to 3.3 seconds.
I mean, his times have really picked up, even compared to Ricky Craven. He's by far the fastest car.
But you know why? You heard his radio conversation. Where is he running? Is he running up top? And by the way Craven chased him down, he said, maybe I better get up top. And he has, and has picked up his lap time.
And I'm going to anticipate when these cars do start coming to pit road, that with having 45 to 50 laps on their tires and fuel, full of fuel, 4 tires, adjustments, do 4 tires now, get near the end. That's maybe when you think about those 2 right sides.
Yeah, or if I'm mid-pack or maybe on back, I might come in and get 2 to stay on the lead lap maybe and gamble that there's going to be a caution. I've done that before and it's paid off.
And right now, with 36 cars still on the lead lap, that's a lot of traffic. Might be a good move.
Yeah, it's a pretty good move from mid-pack. I don't know, maybe Todd Bodine on back.
Todd's running 20th. Dave Blaney back on track, returns from the garage area.
And for the first time on this long green run, our leader, Tony Stewart and Sterling Marlin, they're starting to lap some cars. They just last lapped Kyle Petty and Hermie Sadler. Here's the first of the green flag stops starting. Ward Burton in the 22 car. He's the first to pit road. And we anticipate the Dodges being the first to pit road, not getting that good of fuel mileage. But there you see the battle for third. It's no longer a battle. Ricky Craven in that 32 car. He goes by Jeff Gordon in the 24.
Yeah, that Hermie Sadler, I think, got in Gordon's way, cost him his momentum, and Craven was able to jump all over him.
AC Dale Earnhardt Jr. had the fastest time at the line right there, had the fastest miles per hour, 173 miles per hour. But remember, Ricky Craven and Jeff Gordon were racing each other side by side.
Jeremy Mayfield pits, so does Kyle Petty.
All Dodges.
Along with Ward Burton.
Here comes Benson in the Pontiac.
First of the GM cars to pit, and Tony Raines coming in with him. Mayfield's crew around to the left side.
And this is where it's kind of nail-biting for everyone, like you say, Darrell, especially back in the middle of the pack, is now that you started making these green flag stops. Tony Raines come to pit road. Bobby Labonte, the first of the real leaders in the 18 car, is you want it to cycle through without a caution burning you.
Boy, that's just what you hold your breath for.
Bobby Labonte gives up 8th place to pit. Matt.
And Bobby Labonte was complaining his car still on the tight side as he makes his way in. Brandon Thomas and Fatback were talking over several different options. You can see the wrench going in the back window. Going to make a track bar adjustment on the 18 of Bobby Labonte. You see the catch cam man reach over. Armstrong a cook in deluxe, and he's down and away. Dick Bergeron.
6'5", 245-pound Jerry Schweitz from Waterloo, New York is the gas man. He is going to put 2 cans of fuel in this automobile for Sterling Marlin, who has led so many laps today. A 4-tire change for Marlin, who has not complained at all about his race car today. It has been just about perfect. Another good stop.
Jeff Gordon getting the left sides and gone. Rusty Wallace is in. Casey Mears, Bill Elliott, Christian Fittipaldi, Jimmy Spencer. Jeff Burton is in. Michael Waltrip, Matt Kenseth, done and gone. And along comes Kevin Harvick, Kenny Wallace, Robbie Gordon to pit road. Mike Wallace, Tony Stewart, the new leader, gives up the lead to pit. Steve?
Tony Stewart headed down towards pit road, down to Greg Zipadelli's team. Zipadelli counting him in. 4, 3, 2, 1. He's in. They'll make a chassis adjustment to the right rear. 4 tires. Dick Bergeron.
Ricky Craven had gone from 37th to 2nd position, and he has just taken 4 tires in gas. Steve?
Dick left side tires going on the 20 of Tony Stewart. His work is done. Back down pit road. He's got a clear shot out. Matt Yocum.
Service already complete for Dale Jr. No adjustments.
Ricky Craven's been in. Mark Martin, Kurt Busch getting finished up. Jack Sprague, Terry Labonte, Jeff Green, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Bodine turns the 11 into the garage area. Todd Bodine completes his stop and heads out.
And Jeffrey Bodine just had been to pit road for his pit stop. You almost wonder if he broke something when he left pit road.
And you know our strategy about 2 tires under any scenario right now probably wasn't a very good one, Larry, because you got to fill the thing up. Everybody's out of fuel. So by the time you fill it up with fuel, you might as well stay there and get the 4 tires.
Greg Biffle in the 16 car, he'll get credit for leading that lap right there. But I'm going to tell you what, these pit stops, Ricky Craven, 13.2. Sterling Marlin, 13.6. Jeff Gordon, 13.5. They're all in the 13s, DW.
Who was looking for the highway patrol earlier?
Fatback.
They have ticketed Jack Sprague. Too fast leaving the pit. He will get a drive-through penalty.
And that's mistakes you cannot have this late in this race with about 78 laps to go under green flag stops. It will pretty much ruin your day.
Dale Jarrett makes his pit stop. So waiting on Greg Biffle and Elliott Sadler to pit. Here's Biffle. That will pretty well cycle us through. Sadler coming in right behind him. Biffle got a lap down earlier due to a cut tire, but made it up on a run to a caution flag. So the defending Busch Series champion, whose Busch team shut down this week, citing sponsorship issues. Jack Roush closed the door to what is now the number 60 Busch team, and Biffle heads back out.
Let's just show you some of the techniques that pit crews do trying to make these 13.5-second stops. Right here with Jeff Green in the 1 car. You see the first gas man there. He's going to stick the first can. That's the first can's already been in. Now he's going to stick the second can. Catch can man has it. Nice little toss. Get rid of it. She's empty. Don't weigh near as much. Now he's going to make a chassis adjustment there. He is a busy man at the back of that car.
You know, I said one time, just kidding, I was doing a piece for a television, and I was holding the catch can, and I said, and a stop really revolves around the catch can man. And I was just kidding. But today, it really does. He does more than anybody.
And of course, what his primary job is to catch the excess fuel. Plus, there's a probe that opens up that vent that will let the fuel go in. But as you saw, Jeff Green's catch man, chassis adjustment, and get rid of the first can.
Among the teams that choose to participate in the McDonald's Drive-Through Championship, fueled by Powerade, Michael Waltrip with the lead in the $200,000 prize that awaits the winning team at season's end.
NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Old Spice, is brought to you by Budweiser. The best things in life are the things that are true. Budweiser.
.258 miles complete in the Sirius Satellite Radio 400 here at Michigan. Sterling Marlin leading Jeff Gordon by not quite 2 seconds. The Marlin's having his troubles in traffic.
Nothing like a little green flag pit stop to really shake things up and separate people out. And man, I mean, you know, had some tight racing here for a while. That green flag stop really changed things.
Brett Bodine injured in yesterday's crash, sore, perhaps a broken clavicle. Jeffrey, his oldest brother, flew in to drive in relief, and they've just completed a green flag stop, Dick Berggren, but now Jeff's in the garage.
Yeah, it's all done for the day. Apparently the rear end gear failed. Did you have fun in that race car today?
Yeah, I was having a ball out there. You know, the car was pretty good. It was a little tight. Mike and the crew loosened it up, and they kept freeing it up. It kept getting better and better. But right there at the end, Dale Jarrett got by me, the big brown truck, and that's when the rear end was going. It was making a noise, and it was cooking the wings. Really, my feet were getting pretty hot, and that's a good sign that something's going wrong. And I think it's the rear end, maybe the transmission. We're not sure.
Nice to see you back at the racetrack.
Thanks.
Jeffrey Bodine with 1 win here at Michigan International Speedway in his career.
Tell you what, speaking of Dale Jarrett, the UPS car right here, hard to believe the man that ran first and second both races here last year, he's back in the 26th position. He just went a lap down to Sterling Marlin in the 40.
If they would put those flames that's on that truck we see on the commercial, if they put them on that race car, business would pick up.
But I think possibly what went on with this race car right here, Elliott Sadler, his teammate, came up here and tested, had a good test, a little cooler weather. They tried to work with that setup in race runs yesterday, Darrell. In practice, it wasn't working. Talked to Sean Parker. They put the setup that they ran first and second with here last year in that car this morning. As we heard him say earlier, he was loose. Not surprising. These cars have much more front downforce, which will make you loose with the same setup.
Well, if it's any consolation to him, his teammate isn't doing a whole heck of a lot better.
No, he only lacks 5 seconds from being a lap down, Darrell.
And I say you have to go a long way back in the record books if it wasn't contributed to attrition where both Yates cars were a lap down or more here at Michigan.
But you know, Larry, I used to come here and test occasionally. Nobody comes here very often because this track is always changing, and it's never the same when you test as it is when all the cars get here and start putting rubber down.
Larry and Darrell, we always talk about how important it is for a driver to get on and off pit road in this last exchange of green flag stops. We saw that Sterling Marlin and Tony Stewart were running 1-2, and Jeff Gordon running back here third. Well, folks, when did you ever think that a 15-second pit stop would be bad? For Tony Stewart, he was 15 seconds in the pits, while Jeff Gordon, as well as later Sterling Marlin, were on and off in 13.5. Again, lost a second and a half. That's the difference right now between where Sterling Marlin is and where Tony Stewart is.
And Jeff, I'm going to tell you who else really lost on that pit stop, and I don't think it was a stop because we documented he had about a 13.5-second stop. Ricky Craven in the 32 car, he went to about 10.5 seconds behind our leader, and that had to be either getting on, probably getting on, or getting off pit road.
Yeah, plus his car doesn't look as good as it did before that stop either, Larry. They must have made some kind of minor adjustment.
And at a place like Michigan, guys, you see how important it is. The speed you're going, you lose a lot of valuable racetrack.
So Craven now finds himself 10.5 seconds back in 6th place. Let's get a further update from Steve Burns.
Mike, on Rusty Wallace's last pit stop, they put 2 rounds of wedge in. It took 1 pound out of the right rear tire. The car has gotten very loose. Rusty said to Billy Wilburn, "Are you sure you put 2 rounds of wedge in?" They said yes. He wants the air pressure to come up in those tires. Matt Yoakum.
A fast stop, 13.8 for Matt Kenseth and his team, but he's losing time on the racetrack. He was unbelievably loose on the previous run. They made an air pressure adjustment on both left side tires and a wedge adjustment, but now he says the car is just plowing. He says it is terrible tight. He says he's got a bad set of tires. He's trying to hang on. He's concerned that if this goes green, just how much track position he is really going to lose. To Steve Burns.
Scott Miller is Ricky Craven's crew chief. He's talking to his driver right now. Scott, what's going on with your race car?
I didn't hear you.
What's going on with your race car?
We're pretty good on, we're really good on long runs. We can't take off quite as quick as some of the other guys up front, but
why?
Might be running a little too low on tire pressures. I'm not sure. We'll make some changes on this last stop. Hopefully we can do something with it.
All right, thanks. Good luck.
And of course, guys, the reason he'll definitely need to make a change for this next stop is because it won't be that long of a run, so you need that pressure to come in even quicker. There you see how much ground that Ricky Craven is losing to our leader right now, Sterling Marlin. He's lost about a second and a half just in about 3-4 laps.
Well, there's nothing any greater than a car that's good on a long run, but you can't let those guys get so far away that it doesn't do you any good. By the time you get going again, they're long gone.
And Sterling Marlin is wasting no time. He's passing them where he's catching them. Now only 23 cars on the lead lap, and Jeff Gordon almost 3 seconds behind Marlin.
Fox welcomes you back to Michigan, and happy Father's Day to all you dads out there that are watching and participating in the race. And this is a Visa Race Break with Sterling Marlin, your leader. And in case you weren't with us earlier, we've gone 142 laps so far. A lot of excitement on the second lap. Kenny Schrader, who at Pocono was in trouble, barrel rolled and caught fire 7 laps into the race. This time Jeff Hammond just on the second lap.
Yeah, they kind of like, as Kenny put it, basically they ran out of room. 3 people trying to go in one place, and they wound up being the losers, especially Ricky Rudd, who was definitely a victim right there.
Yeah, Schrader had run in 24 consecutive Michigan races and completed run knocked out as well. And then Flying Ryan became Frying Ryan as the car catches fire, and he was knocked out of the race.
Yeah, his engine exploded basically, and you can see the flames right there. And Ryan made a great escape with the help of his spotter, guiding him down there close to the fire truck so they could come to his aid as quick as possible. You see him coming out of the car right there, a lot of smoke, a lot of flames. There comes the fire rescue team coming up and helping him out.
Now let's check out the Coca-Cola Racing family. As you see, Tony Stewart currently running 3rd, Kurt Busch 7th, and the pole sitter, Bobby Labonte, with that Hulk paint scheme.
Oh, really doing good right now. The car's looking really sporty. You can see right there, Ricky Rudd's already out. Kyle Petty running back in 36.
And Cuckoo Marlin, proud, the father, of course, of Sterling Marlin. And Sterling, who he has not been MIA here at MIS because he's finished 6th or better in 3 of the last 4 races at Michigan, including a win. In 35 races at Michigan International Speedway, Marlin has scored 10 top 10 finishes, including a victory, and he's led 88 of the 144 laps today. And Bill Elliott, who moments ago we saw in the Coca family of drivers, with Rudd out of the race, you saw that earlier wreck, he can actually lead the most miles or most laps here in the history of the Michigan International Speedway if he completes at least 190 laps today, and he's on his way, Larry, Darrell, and Mike, to doing that.
Yeah, I mean, he qualified back in 16th, and he's been quietly working toward the top 10, and he just had moved into the top 10, and Rusty Wallace just went back by him, put him back in 11th, but he's making his 50th career start here today. But with that, I tell you, the record's phenomenal. 29 top 10 finishes out of those 50 races. So when you think about Michigan, especially back in those mid to late 80s, DW, you think about Bill Elliott.
Yeah, and he won 6 of his 7 races here, you know, in an 8-race stretch from 1984 and 1987 during that period of time. So back in the 80s, when you came to Michigan, you just already automatically gave the trophy to Bill.
And we know he has a hurt foot, but we've already watched Tony Stewart's telemetry. We know that you don't use much brake here. Probably going to be just fine here.
Yes.
Elliott won 4 in a row here, and that is a record for consecutive wins on a single NASCAR super speedway. Steve Burns.
Mike, Bill Elliott is reporting a slight vibration in that number 9 Dodge, and the team has told him, hang on. If he pits after that, he'll be inside his fuel window for the remainder of the race.
And that's the thing. Remember, these guys were on pit road somewhere between lap 118 and 122. As you're saying, Steve, 152 is 48 to go. That's the window for most of these guys. But I'm sure most of them are going to try to go between 160 and 165, which is another full run. The downside of pitting early is if a caution comes out, but if you got a vibration, you could be the caution if you don't pit.
Sterling Marlin, our leader. Jeff Gordon, 4.5 seconds back. Tony Stewart, Dale Jr., Ricky Craven now into the top 5, where he displaced that man, our point leader, Matt Kenseth, who runs in 6th, 15.2 seconds off the lead. Let's listen in.
I think it's the tires, but I don't know that for sure. Are we going to be able to lead a lap or not? I don't think so. Do you think so or you don't think so? No.
So if he don't think he can lead a lap, he could be a lot like Bill Elliott. He'll probably come to pit road once they reach their fuel window, especially if he's going to continue losing ground. And right now, he's 4/10 or better off the leader.
Big picture, Larry. Big picture. 5 bonus points. That's really important, and it can make a big difference as we go along here. Leading a race every week, bonus points can be the difference of who wins and who loses.
But what his team has already figured out, the amount of laps he can run on this run versus some of the competitors that don't sound like they can stretch it far enough to be able to stay out long enough to lead a lap.
Kenseth came here with a 176-point lead. The positions they're in right now would see Dale Earnhardt Jr. shave 15 points off of that. NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Old Spice, is brought to you by Pepto-Bismol, first aid for stomachs, use as directed, and by Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR and NHRA. 47 laps to go as you watch from our Budweiser aerial coverage at the 150,000 here at Michigan International Speedway, watching the Winston Cuppers. 16 cars on the lead lap. Pit road about to be busy. Sterling Marlin, our leader, 6th 3 times in 2003, Bristol, Talladega, and Pocono. But for the 2nd week in a row now, he has led the most laps.
And what you're watching, 150,000 strong, is him putting a spanking on these guys right now.
And let me tell you the position he has moved himself in. With this last pit stop, should we stay green, coming with about 35-40 laps to go, he has almost a 6-second lead. You do the math. He can take 4 tires and not relinquish the lead, even the guys that take 2 tires. And trust me, you got a race car that good, the last thing you want to do is mess the setup up with just 2 right side tires.
Well, that's 20 bonus points for Marlin in the last 2 weeks here. And among our point leaders,
the bonus baby, so to speak. You get 5 points for leading a lap. Every driver does, and the driver leads the most laps gets another 5, and that's how the bonus points have affected the top 5 in standings so far.
Larry, the longer I stay out there, though, the more attractive 2 tires becomes to me. Because if I'm a gambler, and Lord, I love a gambling man, I think if I was a gambler, I might take 2 and enough fuel to get to the end, and that'd be it.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. with 70 bonus points there. He has led in 11 races and led the most laps 3 times, equates to 70 points. But yeah, shorter distance better for 2 tires.
Yeah, well, you only need it. Maybe you can make it when you get to where you can make it on one can of fuel and 2 tires, and I'm gone.
Well, pit stops have begun. Bill Elliott pitted with 48 laps to go. Right now there's 44 to go. Dave Blaney, who is many laps down after banging the concrete early here on and off pit road.
And Bill Elliott will have to hold his breath for about 10 more laps to all these pit stops cycle through, because right now we have about 15 cars on the lead lap. Now Sterling Marlin has stretched his lead out to almost 6.5 seconds. He's consistently 0.3 quicker than anybody out there on the racetrack.
It was Marlin who gave Dodge their first win since they returned to Winston Cup racing at the start of the 2001 season. He won here that year in August. It was the first Dodge Winston Cup win since 1977 in November. Neil Bonnet.
And there's the caution Bill Elliott did not want to see. There's some debris there on the backstretch. We think we saw Michael Waltrip in the 15 and Napa car actually run over it. But if he has a tire problem, he'll be coming to pit road to get 4 tires anyhow.
And he was doing a really good job. He was up to 11th place and was really just right there to take Mayfield and Rusty Wallace.
This is exactly what Sterling Marlin did not want to see.
Boy, and here comes Jimmy Johnson, who's wishing he could get up there and get a lap back, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Just heard him tell Sterling Marlin, don't let him have anybody's lap back, and he will not have them a lap back. He keeps everybody that was a lap down, so we have 15 cars on the lead lap.
There's the piece of metal on the backstretch.
Mikey.
Might have centered it, Darrell. Not hit it with a tire.
I think he went right under the car, and it doesn't look like maybe a piece of aluminum.
Chewing gum wrapper.
Water bottle.
But he'll be fine, because he's going to come get 4 good years anyhow.
Some good cars are a lap down. They include Todd Bodine, Jimmy Johnson, Elliott Sadler, Greg Biffle, Ward Burton, Casey Mears, Kevin Harvick, Kenny Wallace, Joe Nemechek, Johnny Benson, Jeff Green, Robbie Gordon. All those cars are a lap down, along with Tony Raines, Jack Sprague, and now Bill Elliott joins that group because Elliott pitted under green.
And you know, one of the things, that's a small piece of debris, obviously, but NASCAR's in a box. They know it's there. If they don't throw the caution, that's all. It's not going to hurt anything. But then it did. Then they really feel bad or they look bad. So you got no choice. No matter what it is, you got to throw the caution.
And we saw yesterday with Brett Bodine what running over debris can do to you.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty safe to say we're going to see 15 cars on pit road right now for pit stops. And I think with this being almost 45 laps on their tires, here with about 40 laps to go, everybody will be changing 4 tires.
All right, here they come. Dick Bergman.
Well, Sterling Marlin, no surprise, is going to take 4 tires. He has already heard from his spotter, Lauren Ranier, who has told him, stop exactly on the sign when the sign touches the windshield. This, the most critical stop of all. Sterling skids to a stop to get those 4 tires. No adjustments to the race car other than minor tire pressure adjustments. That's all they've done to this car all day long. To Matt.
A great entry by Dale Earnhardt Jr. Looking for a 4-tire change. They made an air pressure adjustment in the right rear. He was a little tight on that last run. Tony Uri Jr. didn't want to do any major adjustment because the car was still pretty good. To Steve Burns.
They pull a spring rubber out of the left rear spring for Tony Stewart. 4 tires. He's away right in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Jeff Gordon in that 24 group, Robbie Loomis, they're going to win the battle off pit road. But that 32 car, Ricky Craven, they had a great pit stop. They'll go out 3rd.
40 car was a little slow on the right rear, and that cost him getting out ahead of Gordon. And Gordon was spot on, baby. He slid it in the hole and took off.
1 week ago, it was the final pit stop that sealed the deal for Tony Stewart. First out was first to the finish flag. Jeff Hammond.
You get a chance, guys. We need to go back and take a look at coming down pit road. Watch Michael Waltrip right there at the top of your screen. He jumped literally up on the curb to try to avoid some of these cars coming out. Watch right there. Up on the curb he goes. Things got a little tight right there. He may not have handling package under his car as well as he used to have.
80 laps to go. You're watching the NASCAR Winston Cup on Fox, presented by Old Spice. NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Old Spice, is brought to you by Pepto-Bismol, first aid for stomachs. Use as directed. And by Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR and NHRA. 150,000 packed in here on Father's Day. Let's have a look at some of them through our Pepsi fan cam. Getting set to go racing, 161 laps complete, 38 to go when they come around.
And these fans today have needed something that no fans all year long have needed.
Sunglasses.
Sunscreen.
Sunglasses and sunscreen.
You got it. And we have 16 cars on the lead lap because Bill Elliott that had just made that green flag stop before this caution. He's at the tail end of the lead lap in front of our leader, Jeff Gordon.
Now somebody could come out of the pack and win this. Last year, winner Matt Kenseth didn't lead until about this time. He led 26 of the last 53 laps. Jeff Gordon has only led 2 laps today so far.
Get ready, green, green, green.
38 laps to go.
Bill Elliott tail end of the lead lap as he did not pit.
Sterling didn't go, guys. Something happened. Sterling is falling back. I don't know if there's something wrong with the car, a flat tire. I'm not sure what his problem is.
And Elliott's in trouble.
Well, Bill didn't take tires, Mike, and he rode around there on those old tires. I was worried about that.
Yeah, he's going to fall all the way back to about mid-pack before he can get back in line.
You know, I'm not sure. Maybe Sterling just missed a gear and something certainly happened to his car. It looks like he's up to speed now. Thing either loaded up or he missed a gear or something happened to it.
And Jeff Gordon tries to give this field the goodbye look.
He's got that see you later alligator look to it right now.
Yeah, Sterling Marlin went all the way back to 14th position from second.
Oh, Robbie Gordon's way up the hill, but he saved it.
Inside.
Whoa, Jimmy Spencer.
Yeah, I don't like the looks of this.
Slid right up in front of him and almost bit the wall.
I don't like the looks of all these cars all gaggled up like this.
And right now, second place, Kurt Busch in the 97 car. He has a lap car of Todd Bodine in the 54. Kevin Harvick in the 29 in front of him. All these cars around Busch are lap cars as he hits the wall coming off turn 4.
This ain't the look of love, I can tell you that.
No. Kurt Busch sees the train leaving the station. He's got to get through these cars to have any chance at Jeff Gordon. First, we'll see the restart. See what happened to Sterling Marlin. On the right of your screen, live action on the left.
No, based on what I see now, Mike, it looks like he just couldn't get it in gear, like he had a problem with the transmission. There he goes. He can't go.
Boy, nice move by Craven to cut low and clear him. Dick Berggren.
With Lee McCall, Sterling Marlin's crew chief, what happened on that restart, Lee?
Well, I'm really not sure. I don't know if he spun the tires or missed a gear or what, but you know, there's still 35 laps here left, and I think we got enough car we can get back to the front.
Has he not said anything?
No, I think he's concentrating right now, getting back to the front, so we'll see what we got.
All right, good luck with it.
He's running 13th. Darrell, how much time do you have when something like that happens right in front of you on a restart?
Well, it's just all instincts. And you're coming up through the gears, and you just are so fortunate you don't ram that guy. It's that guy, Sterling did the right thing. He faded to the right, got up high out of the way, and gave guys the bottom to get around him.
I'm going to tell you what, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car back in 3rd position, he has to wonder what in the world is going on. He has about 6 lap cars around him, and I looked at them off turn 4 that last time. They looked like they were 6 wide coming off the corner. And all of them are lap cars except Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Jr. has led 1 lap today.
They finally have settled down here just a little bit, and they needed to.
Tell you one thing, we're getting some interesting characters up near the front of the field here late in the race. There's Ricky Craven up there. He's in 5th place. All of a sudden, Bobby Labonte is up there. All of a sudden, where'd he come from? In 4th place. 99 car, Jeff Burton. Their top 10 is taking on a different look than it had just a little bit ago.
And 2 pit stop penalties. Ward Burton bent over the wall too soon. 15-second penalty on Burton's car. And Jamie McMurray, a tire violation. That'll be a stop and go penalty.
Here we see the battle between Ricky Craven in the 32, Tony Stewart in the 20. That's a battle for 5th. Now those 2 cars in front of him, Greg Biffle in the 16, Jimmy Johnson in the 48, they're a lap down.
And that's too bad for McMurray because he was about to go a lap down when that caution came out. Stayed on the lead lap, now he's going to lose it.
And we talk about people that have showed up in the top 10. Right now, Roush has 4 cars in the top 10. Kurt Busch in 2nd, and then Kenseth, Burton, and Mark Martin are 8th, 9th, and 10th. You see Jeff Burton right there in the 99. His teammate Mark Martin in the 6th. Sterling Marlin actually losing some ground.
Those Roush cars have been nose to tail most of the day.
They haven't. It looks to me like Busch is coming. It looks to me like he's chasing Jeff down.
All of Roush's cars on the lead lap except Greg Biffle back in 20th. He is 1 lap down.
So Jeff Gordon, who had only led 2 laps prior to this last restart, now steps out with a 1-second lead with 30 to go. NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Old Spice, is brought to you by Pepsi-Cola. Experience the joy of Pepsi. Harley-Davidson, the legend rolls on. Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar, eating good in the neighborhood. And by the United States Army, an army of one. Caution is out, and 10 of the lead lap cars elect to pit. Ricky Craven sustained some damage in a crash that sent Greg Biffle on a long slide down the front straightaway.
If you watch Tony, he was on the bottom coming off that corner we talked about all day, how you got to have room to slide up. Guess what? He didn't have enough room to slide up. So he just made some room.
There you see where Ricky Craven got in the back of Biffle and sustained his damage on the right.
Tony, I was watching. Tony was coming. I said, dude, you ain't going to make it.
Now, what a job by Biffle to regain control of this car.
There's nowhere else for Biffle to go.
No. And of course, there's poor Craven. He's right up on the back of Biffle. When he bangs the wall, Craven's got nowhere to go but into the back of him. That's what you call parting the seas right there.
Yeah, he almost staggered 4 of them right there. So not all the lead lap cars pitted, and Todd Bodine did beat Jeff Gordon back to the flag to get back on the lead lap. So 10 of our 16 lead lap cars have pitted.
I think that's Jack Sprague. Started in the pit and came back out across the grass.
Cars a lap or more down now pitting. 27 to go. Jeff Gordon out in front of Kurt Busch and Bobby Labonte. You're watching the NASCAR Winston Cup Series on Fox, presented by Old Spice. NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on Fox, presented by Old Spice, is brought to you by Visa. Visit visa.com/NASCAR for an incredible NASCAR offer. It'll be 25 laps to go. The first 6 cars on the lead lap did not pit. Jeff Gordon, Kurt Busch, Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart, Rusty Wallace, and Sterling Marlin. The first of those that did pit is Fox Tracks. That's the number 8, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Here we go.
Those top 6 cars have about 12 laps on their tires versus those fresh tires now on the other 10 cars.
And Sterling got off to a good start that time. He didn't have the problem he had earlier. Well, as I say that, Larry, he goes up the hill down there.
He's going to lose all those positions he gained by staying out almost.
It seems that way, but I tell you, when you stay out on those hot tires, you better have them cleaned up when it comes time to go green flag racing.
Now he looks like he's only going to lose one position to Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car. Boy, Kurt Busch, he got a run through the middle of turn 3 and 4 that time on Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. He's going to pull right up on his rear bumper. 24 laps to go.
Kurt's got the best car right now.
Look at this. Tell me there's only 25 to go. 4 wide.
Don't look now, Ethel.
5 wide into the corner. Good grief. And they all make it.
Oh, well, I'm not sure about that.
They're not off the corner yet.
This is what Michigan is famous for. These restarts and get these cars all bunched up like that.
How about the damage on Ricky Craven's car, Dick?
Well, he made 2 pit stops, Mike, to do the best they could to repair it. A lot of tape went on the nose of the car. Craven figured that was going to make the car push or understeer, as Darrell would say. And so they raised the track bar a couple of rounds to try to compensate. Craven had gotten all the way up to second at one point in the race. Come on.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. gave up third under that caution. They were debating whether to stay out or pit. He was extremely tight, didn't feel like he could win with his race car, although it was very fast. So they made a chassis adjustment, took on right side tires.
I'm going to tell you what, guys, who everybody better pay attention to is our pole sitter, Bobby Labonte, in that 18 car. He's been getting better all day. And, Mike, we just looked at the monitor. I mean, he's the only car in the 39-second bracket.
New leader, Kurt Busch. Fastest car on track, Bobby Labonte.
Well, we know he's fast. We know he's fast. Been fast all weekend. And they have been getting that car better and better.
How does Fastback sound for a nickname for a crew chief?
It would have worked back in the 60s.
That's right.
But just remember, our leader right now, Kurt Busch, in that 97 car, he won a couple of months ago at the sister racetrack to this race.
Oh, car around down there in turn 2.
Looks like Tony Raines in the 74 car.
And that'll bring out the caution for the 8th time today.
Just what Bobby Labonte, I think, probably is glad to see. And probably some of these guys that stopped and got tires are really happy to see this.
Yeah, it appears there's a few cars attempting, but nobody will get a lap back.
Jimmy Johnson's up there. He was in touch, but not close enough.
Tony Raines' wounded car heads toward pit road as he brings out the 8th caution flag today.
That ties a record for the June race as far as cautions.
Tony been doing some 3-wide racing. I saw him caught in the middle a couple of times down here going into turn 1, so caught up with him.
It'll be what NASCAR calls a quickie yellow. That means all cars are eligible to pit first time by, and then we go back to greens. We'll be right back for that.
NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on Fox is presented by Old Spice. Spice things up. And brought to you by Rubbermaid, how life gets organized. Stacker 2, the world's strongest fat burner. And by Napa Auto Parts.
Oh, I'm so ready.
A lot of the Detroit wheels are here, but they're wheels with names like Ford, and they work for companies like Chevrolet and Pontiac and Dodge. On this Father's Day from Michigan, as we get set for what may be the final restart of the day, they'll come around and have 18 laps to go.
Mike, that song may be very appropriate because there's some cars back in there now with tires and different agendas and sock it to me, baby.
I don't see the devil
might be on
press on.
Yeah, but I think you will.
But with 18 to go, one agenda, win the race.
That's right. I'm going to be up there in that 97 car myself.
16 lead lap cars. Busch, Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte, Earnhardt Jr., Wallace, Marlin, Jeff Burton, Kenseth, Martin, Waltrip, Terry Labonte, Todd Bodine, Tony Stewart, Mayfield, McMurray, and Craven.
Let's see what Sterling Marlin in that 40 car does this time. He's had 2 bad restarts. See if he can keep it down in 1 and 2 this time.
Probably learned his lesson on that last go-round. I just don't think he had his tires cleaned up that good when he started the last. Missed a gear the time before. Didn't have tires good and clean that last start. Looks a little better this time.
Rusty Wallace gets a run on the bottom.
That's a battle for 4th. He just drives by Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 8 car.
Outside.
Junior had a run to the bottom in turn 1, but couldn't clear. Elliott Sadler at turn 2, so Rusty was able to get a run on Junior.
But boy, Junior got a run off turn 4 that time. Pulled right up to the rear bumper, Rusty Wallace. 17 laps to go.
Tony Stewart was one of the cars that pitted. He restarted 12th. He's up to 11th and coming.
And the reason he pitted, he was very, very loose, wasn't he, Steve Burns?
Yeah, Larry, in his words, he had gotten wicked loose, so they lowered the track bar a turn and a half and made an air pressure adjustment to both right side tires.
If you're going backwards, you might as well make an adjustment this late in the race.
Yeah, you up the air pressure in the right side tires for this short run, but I tell you, he's got too much ground to make up.
Speaking of 2, position 2, Bobby Labonte going after Jeff Gordon.
Just couldn't complete the pass off turn 4. But while these guys were racing each other, Kurt Busch, he's pulling away just a little bit in that 97 Rubbermaid car. I'm sure when he looks in his rearview mirror, he loves seeing those guys run side by side.
Junior and Rusty side by side. That's back at 4th place. As we watch the 2nd place race, let's watch them both.
And they both look the same side by side off into turn 3 and 4.
Junior's repaying the favor there to Rusty. Rusty kind of set him up and got that run down on the inside, put a slide job on him, but Junior come right on back around him.
All of the front 4 drivers just ran their fastest lap of the day.
It's time to run it. It's time to go.
Imagine that.
15 to go. Yeah, Kurt Busch, again, while Bobby Labonte and Jeff Gordon run side by side, Kurt Busch ran at 39.88. They're running 40, 20s, and 30s. He's getting smaller and smaller. Got a big-time battle back there, I believe, for 5th between Rusty Wallace in the 2 car, Sterling Marlin in the 40 car. That's a lap car of Elliott Sadler in the 38 in front of him.
Yeah, you're going, what are the lap?
Whoa, Sterling. Gosh almighty, he got that thing up the hill. I thought he was going to get into Rusty. I'm sorry, guys.
Well, those 2 lap cars are racing for position, even though it's 19th, Casey Mears and Elliott Sadler. And here's our point leader, the 17 of Kenseth, coming back into it.
Sterling's car just had that look of like, I can't stop it. I'm on the slide. It's going to get into something.
But I'm going to tell you what, we're riding with Tony Stewart right here in the number 20 car. He's up to the 8th position. He don't have time enough to get to the front and win this thing, but he's making up some ground with that adjustment and those fresh tires.
Yeah, he probably made the right call, Larry, to come in and do what he did because he was falling back. And I think he had some damage from that contact earlier.
Well, he got a run off turn 2. It looked like he had 100 more horsepower down that backstretch. He got to turn 3, got hemmed up behind Elliott Sadler and lost that ground.
He does have 100 more horsepower right now because he's got his wide open and them other guys can't get theirs wide open.
.4 seconds. That's the gap, first to second. Now Bobby Labonte sets his sights on Kurt Busch, but did Bobby Labonte clear traffic too late to catch him?
I don't know. I think it's going to be mighty close. Bobby is awfully fast right now. It wouldn't surprise me to see him chase him down. I don't know if he can get around him or not, but I believe he will close.
His teammates, Tony Stewart, he just drove by Rusty Wallace with those 4 fresh tires, and that moves him into the 7th position. And I tell you, a team that's hunting their first top 10 finish of the year, the 54 car, Todd Bodine, he just moved into 10th. Remember, he has those 4 fresh tires. Wasn't that many laps ago he got that lap back from Jeff Gordon. He's had some good runs, and just think about what he's had to do the last 2 weeks, bouncing back and forth between the Busch race and the Winston Cup race.
Pocono, Nashville, Michigan, Kentucky, Michigan.
Now Tony Stewart, he's driving to the inside of our points leader, Matt Kenseth, in the 17 car down the backstretch off into turn 3. That'll move him into the 6th position. Problem is he's about 4 3/4 seconds behind our leader, Kurt Busch, as they'll come to the line with 11 to go.
Yeah, what Tony Stewart likes to see is another quick caution, a quickie yellow.
Bobby Labonte is gaining about a 1/10 of a lap on Kurt Busch, and that might just be enough. Fourth place.
All Kurt's got to do is slip one time and have to burp the throttle, and Bobby will be there.
Fourth place, 2 beer cans battling again.
They battled a lot today.
Just like we started the day.
You know, Bobby Labonte won both these races here in 1995, and Jeff Gordon won from the pole here in 2001, so this can be won from the pole. It's one of those tracks.
Todd Bodine moving into 9th underneath Michael Waltrip, and maybe bringing Mark Martin with him.
Definitely fresh tires is paying off for Todd Bodine and Tony Stewart right now.
10 laps to go in the Sirius 400 at Michigan International Speedway.
And the 15 car is having a good day. They're up in the top 10 again.
Back to clear.
Sterling Marlin and Dale Earnhardt Jr. They can.
Oh, there he goes. There. Todd Bodine.
Oh. Hate that.
We have no caution yet.
Pieces coming off.
Tony Stewart would love to see a debris caution right now, and I think
yeah, Todd just went up and hit the wall in turn 3.
He's going to get it.
Caution is out. Caution is out. That's a shame for Todd and that group.
Plenty of time to get this race restarted, but all right, Jack Roush cheering on Kurt Busch. He has 5 cars in this race. Kurt Busch was the only Ford to qualify among the top half dozen. And it's been a tough weekend for the Bodines.
These 3 guys right here, Todd, Michael, and Mark, have really been racing hard. Todd you saw the car wiggle just a little bit. He was trying to keep it down under Michael, and when he corrected, there was nowhere to go but into the fence. Now he goes down here, and the steering's all locked up. Probably got the right front tire down, and he's still carrying quite a bit of speed. Just see that little bit. He's trying to stay off of Michael, and when he turns it, it just gets loose with him.
He almost had it corrected.
Down on the inside again. You come up. You need more room. You don't have it.
If Michael had gotten back, you heard Michael's engine. If he'd gotten back in the gas a couple of tenths slower, he'd be in it.
I'm not sure why Jack Roush is clapping, because that's going to put Bobby Labonte right on his guy's rear bumper.
Maybe Jack thought it was a 190 lap race.
Maybe Jack knows the restart gears that are in that 97. He's an ex-drag racer, you know, and a pretty good one. So we'll see how it shakes out at Michigan here after this. Traffic jam here at Brooklyn, Michigan, but it's the one on the racetrack that's of concern. 15 cars on the lead lap. Todd Bodine, who brought out this caution, has taken his to the garage as we watch our Budweiser aerial coverage of turns 3 and 4 and looking up toward the town of Brooklyn. Matt?
Now Jack Roush is smiling. He's hoping to hold off the Joe Gibbs car to pick up his 6th Michigan win. A win here, though, would be even more special for 31-year-old Scott Radel, the Jack man for Kurt Busch. This is actually his home track. He grew up in Massillon, Ohio, Northeast Ohio. The first time he ever came to a NASCAR race, right here at MIS. He pointed out to me, he sat up in row 3 just past start finish. He couldn't even see the backstretch. In less than 10 laps, he's hoping he's going to have the best view of all from Victory Lane.
And that is a brand new Victory Lane. They built that down there, made it bigger, expanded it all out. This is going to be the first time they used it. Had a real nice brochure of all the former winners from the racetrack here that they were handing out.
That will be Gatorade Victory Lane just about 6 laps from now.
You know, before that caution, looked like the 97 car was going to be in that Victory Lane. I'm afraid to say now, with all these cars bunched up with about 5 laps to go.
18 looks good.
And while I climb up on my soapbox here, that's where Victory Lane ought to be. On the front straightaway, in front of the fans. Let them share in the celebration.
I like it.
I like that.
I like it.
Some of the lead lap cars pitted, and it'll be a single file restart inside of 10 laps to go. And we'll Fox Tracks those, Matt Kenseth, Michael Waltrip, and Rusty Wallace. 8 cars, make that 9 cars. Okay, 8 cars. 8 cars stayed out. And these cars led those who pitted.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth will be the first car back in 9th position that has fresh tires. We saw earlier, just a few laps ago, what fresh tires meant to Tony Stewart.
Yeah, and
just don't know if there's enough laps to get there.
Well, if he can get a good start here, Sterling doesn't get in the way or mess up like he has the last couple of times. Tony's got the best tires of those cats up here.
And it will be a single file restart. Lead lap cars only to the front. So we don't have no lap traffic to deal with as they'll get 5 to go.
Ford, Chevy, Dodge. And they'll have 5 laps to go.
Get ready. Green.
Kurt Busch got a really good restart in that 97 car.
But just prior to the caution, Bobby Labonte had been running him down. Here comes Junior. Inside of Gordon. 3rd place.
Boy, he drove that thing down into turn 1. He may have paid the price running the low line in the middle of 1 and 2 because Gordon's going to get to run on the high side off of turn 2.
Yeah, just driving in that hard, you can't get back to the gas. Keep waiting for it to stick and turn, and just doesn't want to do that.
And just remember, Dale Earnhardt Jr., good qualifying run on Friday, had to go to the rear of the field because of the engine change, but they are doing what they need to do for this championship battle right now.
Boy, that 17 car is coming, baby. He is coming. He went down into turn 3 over there.
See him on the left side of the screen. He has those 4 fresh tires.
Up to 7th place from 9th on the restart is Kenseth.
Watch him go through the corner. I mean, he is really sailing around there right now.
Yeah, he just pulled to the bottom. Looks like he's going to end up going by Tony Stewart, possibly down here in turn 3 and 4. He got a good run off turn 2 on the backstretch. Next time will be 3 to go. And Kurt Busch, he's pulling on out there again.
I thought Bobby Labonte had something for him, but I don't know. Looks like Kurt's got a pretty good hot rod right now.
He tried the high side up there last time. This time, Labonte tries the low side in turns 3 and 4, but gains no ground.
Boy, and Michael, he got his 4 tires, and he's taking advantage. He's going around Tony Stewart. And young Michael's up to 7th.
So that only puts 1 car between our points leader, Matt Kenseth, and 2nd place in the points, Dale Earnhardt Jr. That would be Sterling Marlin in the 40 car back in 5th position. Be 2 to go next time.
But it'd be a 15-point swing, 10th of the positions and 5 because Junior has led a lap today and Kenseth has not. Matt's looking for more. He's right up on the back bumper of Sterling Marlin, the 5th place car.
And you hear him encouraging. Come on, Matt, come on.
No pressure. We'll be coming to the white flag this time by coming to the white.
It's Kurt Busch's crew chief, Jimmy Finney.
And that's a beautiful thing, man. No pressure, coming to the white, and you're pulling away.
Jeff Gordon went to the high side in 1 and 2 and gained some ground on Bobby Labonte that time.
He's going to do it again in 3 and 4, Mike. And look at Matt Kenseth on the bottom. He may get 2 positions here. He got a heck of a run in the middle of 3 and 4. White flag this time pulls up beside the man he's battling in the points, Dale Earnhardt Jr. White flag side by side.
Junior's giving him nothing.
Boy, and Michael's right there with them too. I mean, that's a great. That's going to get interesting down here in turn 1.
Junior takes Kenseth right downstairs.
I think Michael's going to get a run on both of them right here. Nah, he can't quite fall. He's going to get by Junior.
Oh, boy, Junior had to back up.
He pushed up off the 2 over there and had to get up out of the gas. Happens all the time.
And Michael had the draft from Kenseth rather than being up behind his teammate. The low line was working better for him.
Yeah, Junior's going to go from 4th to 7th.
Oh, trouble back straightaway. A lot of smoke car around. I think it's Mike Wallace. Here we come to the flag. Checker is out. Kurt Busch will celebrate Ford's century of Ford Motor Company with a victory at Michigan.
Bobby Labonte 2nd, Jeff Gordon 3rd, points leader Matt Kenseth the 4th, and Michael Waltrip with his fresh tires finishes 5th.
Sterling Marlin is 6th and Dale Jr. 7th.
Yeah, another good top 5 for Michael. I tell you, he's just hanging tough in those points, guys.
Christian Fittipaldi spun on this final lap coming off turn number 2.
And that's his teammate and car owner Kyle Petty in the 45 as well.
I was mistaken. Mike Wallace was not involved. Kurt Busch will go to victory lane at Michigan on Father's Day. And so will we.
Kurt Busch, a three-time winner this season, celebrating, and welcome back. Gatorade Victory Lane. His father, Tom, averaging 70 hours a week selling Mac tools to mechanics, a guy who was a short track driver, proud of his son. And Kurt Busch, who has had success so far celebrating Father's Day with his dad, Tom. Of course, his younger brother, Kyle, having some success recently as well. A Ford coming in first. And there is Kurt Busch. 7th win in his 93rd Winston Cup race. First win in his 5th Michigan Winston Cup race. And our Matt Yoakum is down there with him in victory lane.
Well, what a way to break out of a slump. Your first win here at Michigan.
Unbelievable. This was like a 1 in a million opportunity today. And it just seemed like this track is so much compromise. You never know what to do as far as all-out speed or conservation, running 50 laps on a tire runner fuel. And this was just a 1 in a million shot to give Ford its 100th anniversary victory today. So congratulations to Ford and all of the heroes. Edsel, this was a wonderful day for Ford, Rubbermaid, and all of our associates. Wonderful, just perfect.
What a shootout there. Before the caution, it looked like Bobby Labonte was slowly reeling you in. Were you concerned?
I knew we had a good car in short runs, and that's the compromise you make here. And that allowed us to stay out in front. So we got that clean air, pushed the nose down, and we ran to the front. I mean, just an awesome day. Hats off to all the guys at the engine shop, the guys that build these bodies, everybody that puts work into these cars. It's awesome. It's wonderful. This is great. It's 3.
Any win at Michigan, and special Kurt Busch scores his first top 5 finish since his win at Fontana. To Dick Berggren.
With Jeff Gordon, who finished 3rd today. How big a team effort was this today?
Well, to me, that was a winning effort by the team. I just want to say happy Father's Day, too, to everybody out there, my father and my stepdad. But, you know, unfortunately, we just we kept adjusting all day for the long run. And it came down to a short lap shootout, and that killed us. You know, I got that one good run, restart, and got the lead and stretched it out there. Kurt was a little bit faster than us at that time, but I think I may have been able to hold him off. But the next one, you know, he got right to my bumper, got me loose, and just wasn't much I could do about it from there on.
You guys all did a great job today. Congratulations. Steve Burns.
With Bobby Labonte. Bobby, your 4th runner-up finish in the last 7 races. Did that last caution hurt your chances to get by the 97?
Well, we were gaining on him just, you know, half a tenth to a tenth a lap, but, you know, gaining on him and passing him is one thing. But I don't know, the restart, I don't really think it made much difference. I made a run on him there on the outside going into 3, but, you know, I just drove in there too far, and I thought it would stick, but it didn't stick good enough. And, you know, it was my best shot I had and my only shot. So after that, I had to go in behind him and, you know, make sure I didn't get past for second. But we didn't have a second-place car there for the middle part of the race, so the guys did a great job on pit stops and pit strategy, staying out, and changes on the pit stop to get the car freed up enough to where it was to my liking.
All right, thanks, Bobby. Let's go back to Dick Berggren.
With Matt Kenseth, 21st to 4th, and it seemed as if you were fastest at the end. Where did all the speed come from?
4 Goodyear Eagles. We just got tires at the end there, and my guys had a great stop when we needed it. Got me out in front of the other 4 cars that got 4 tires and, you know, made a march up through there. So it was a great finish for us. We didn't necessarily run great. There was times in the race I felt like we ran good enough for running in the top 5, and then there was times where we were about a 20 and 25th place car, I felt like. So I made the right adjustments at the end. Feel bad. Me and Dale Jr. got into it a little there at the end. I thought I had enough momentum to get him cleared, and must have had an inch or so on me, and we got together a little bit. And I think he's mad, but we were just racing hard there at the end.
And he's got the point lead still and doing a great job. Chris?
All right, thank you, Dick Berggren. Let's get a look at the results. The pole sitter did not lead any laps, although Bobby Labonte did finish 2nd. Jeff Gordon, referring to his stepfather, John Bickford, someone who was uncomfortable with the relationship with Brooke. And again, that divorce finalized this week, Jeff Gordon. So Jeff Gordon and his father mending fences over time as we get a look at the rest of the results, Jeff.
We've seen what we call a pretty awesome race today. You know, Sterling Marlin right there led the most laps today, but in the end, he brought her home 6th. And how about a really good run for, like, say, Michael Waltrip right there, hanging there tough as far as having a good top 5 finish and hanging tough in the points again.
And speaking of the points, and again, you heard Jeff Gordon wish a happy Father's Day to those out there. Again, Matt Kenseth, steady, consistent, widening his lead even a little bit further as Roush Racing. Kurt Busch wins the race, and Roush certainly leads the overall points.
Yes, he really does right now. You take a look right there, you see Kurt Busch right there, our winner today, but when you look at the top of the points right there, you see a Roush car, and it happens to be Matt Kenseth keeps putting these numbers up. That's how you win a championship, just slowly but steadily pulling away from Dale Earnhardt Jr. Made another great call right there at the end. Robbie Reiser elects to come down, get 4 Goodyear Eagles. What does it do? Propels him right up there to a top 4 finish.
And no change in the top 8 spots as we head to Sonoma for next week with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers in the Hollywood Hotel. And it is Father's Day. And we mentioned Tom Busch, kind of the patriarch of Nevada's first racing family, if you will. And he's done a terrific job with Kurt Busch, a part of the sacrifice, and instilled the right kind of a work ethic in a successful driver.
Yeah, it's really working out well as far as Kirk's concerned, as well as his brother Kyle. You know, Tom was a very successful short track racer around the Southwest area. And, I mean, he does an outstanding job as far as these two boys are concerned. Very involved with both of their operations. I mean, Tom actually, you know, spots for his brother, but, you know, it's really neat to see where these guys have kind of come together.
Yeah, through 15 races so far this season, of course, Ford coming through with Roush Racing, and you just saw the points. Give us an overview, Jeff, of what you have seen so far.
Well, it's kind of hard to say, except the fact that, you know, the consistency that Matt Kenseth and Robbie Reiser continue to do. I mean, it's just kind of awesome the way these guys come to the racetrack week after week, and we talked about it early on. Didn't have the best race car at the start of the race. They knew they had to work on it, kept doing that, and by the end of the day, even though they were fading, they came in, made a really crucial call on pit road, got back out there and made the most of this run. I mean, that's what you do week in and week out. They never seem like they get themselves in a panic. They make all of the right calls.
All right, 4th straight week that Kenseth has increased his points. And again, the only 3-time winner this year, 24-year-old Kurt Busch. Next week, the scene will shift to Sears Point, another full weekend of racing. Friday, NASCAR Winston Cup qualifying on speed. Saturday, Winston Cup practice on FX. And Sunday, NASCAR this morning, then Winston Cup racing on Fox. Note the time on Sunday from the West Coast. Actually, the wine country meets NASCAR. Tune in for that, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, with the pre-race show. And the McDonald's drive-through championship continues. And we saw certainly some of the pit stops fueled by Powerade affect the race over the later stages. Keeping an eye on this as well. Kurt Busch, your winner. Bobby Labonte finishing 2nd. And Jeff Gordon finishing 3rd. Want to thank our technical producer, Dave Hill, technical director, Rich Basili, audio supervisor, Fred Aldos. Produced by Neil Goldberg, our coordinating producer, Richie Zions, our director, Artie Kempner. Marcy, don't worry, tell the kids he'll be home soon for Father's Day. And for all those people who had to work today and our entire crew that worked so hard on Father's Day, and a happy Father's Day to all of you watching out there as well. Kind of a herky-jerky start after a warm and spirited pre-race ceremony at Michigan International Speedway. 5 cautions in the first 72 laps. Newman, Rudd, and Schrader were out in a hurry. Tony Stewart, Sterling Marlin led most of the first 300 miles. Then Jeff Gordon with Kurt Busch taking over with 46 miles to go and hanging on. Next week in the wine country, for all of us here, I'm Chris Myers. Thanks for being a part of NASCAR on Fox. And all you fathers, enjoy the rest of your day, your weekend. Join us next Sunday right here.